People lifted their eyes to the heavens, witnessing a scene so surreal it felt like a nightmare come to life. Suddenly, a rift tore open in the sky. A gateway that pulsed with infernal energy. A gate to hell has appeared above us. From its gaping maw, creatures poured forth, vile monsters lunging down upon humanity. That gate is the herald of disaster. They bring destruction with overwhelming might. They are the very embodiment of annihilation. Yet creation itself had not abandoned mankind. Faced with the brink of extinction, humanity awoke to its hidden potential. But humanity never ceased to resist. Confronted with despair, people awakened. Each individual was granted levels and skills power to fight back against calamity. The revelation ignited hope and ambition. And now we live in a world where a person is measured by their level and skills, and among them, the top 10 are honored above all. Voices spread the proclamation like wildfire. The numbers, they are humanity's heroes, the hope of our world. Then came the rallying call: we, the numbers, are recruiting. On massive screens across the city, their images blazed. Fight alongside us. In the midst of the crowd, Kuya stared up intently, eyes fixed on the broadcast. The heroes of this world. The numbers. He stood still among the throngs, heart heavy but gaze unwavering toward the towering building flashing the message. Gratitude welled up within him, etched deep into his very being. I am Kuya Kamakami, one of those saved by the heroes. From childhood, he had carried toy figurines of those champions, dreaming of one day standing beside them. Someday, I will join the numbers and save people from disaster. I used to believe that. But reality is far harsher. Around him, his peers traded stories with pride. I just hit level 100 yesterday, really. I am still stuck at 90. Their excitement only sharpened the truth in Kuya's mind. In a world where strength is visible, the strong shine brighter than anyone. But before his eyes, his own system window mocked him. He could not bear to look. And the world has become a place with no room for the weak. For someone like me, my level froze at 8. 6 years ago. Helplessness crushed him. It is as if everyone is telling me, you do not deserve to live. He drifted through the bustling streets, swallowed by the flow of strangers, lamenting his cruel fate. In a world where everyone has awakened, I am the only one who has not. Suddenly, red light bathed the city blocks as alarms blared. Disaster alert, disaster alert. A man adjusting his glasses groaned irritably. First thing in the morning, really, I am in a rush, this is a pain. Another young man, glued to his phone, muttered. It is on here too. But the report on the location is so vague. A blonde-haired girl sobbed uncontrollably. Mommy, her mother wrapped her tightly in her arms, voice soothing despite the fear in her eyes. It is okay, the numbers will come save us. But behind her, unseen, space itself ripped apart under the swipe of monstrous claws. The mother sensed something was wrong and turned only to be met with the beast's snarling visage. Its grotesque form sent the crowd into a frenzy, people screaming and scattering in terror. Only the mother and child remained frozen, unable to escape in time. Please someone fight. At that same moment, Kuya's eyes widened in horror as he witnessed the nightmare unfold. His body surged forward on instinct. I had to help. The creature's claws drew closer to the mother and daughter, forcing Kuya's heart to pound with frantic urgency. He stepped between them and the beast, standing tall as a fragile shield of flesh and resolve, refusing to let the monster claim innocent lives. Sweat poured down his face, every muscle trembling, yet he forced himself to hold steady. The monster bellowed, unleashing a deafening roar that sprayed saliva across the street. He hesitated, gripped by the gnawing truth of his own inadequacy. If only I had strength. Then, like a gust of wind, Seika streaked past Kuya, golden hair flowing in the air, and landed a devastating kick squarely against the monster. Kuya barely had time to register what had just happened. His breath caught in his throat as he stared in disbelief. Lord Inui. Seika Inui. One of the numbers, the strongest man in the world and the one I admire most. His mind was wrenched back 6 years, to the day his city was reduced to ruins. Back then, a special disaster-class monster appeared. Even the awakened could not stand against it. So many died. The memory of his own wound resurfaced. I was there too. I was only 11. The details of that day remained a blur, shrouded in mystery. I do not really remember what happened. What I do remember is a hazy image flickered in his mind. The numbers fought a life-or-death battle against that beast. Seika's eyes in that memory had blazed with the confidence of a true hero. Kuya remembered watching every movement with awe. And just as Lord Inui began to corner the creature, the glare of another presence, Mugen, seared into his memory, his eyes shining brighter than headlights. He had been so close to Kuya, yet powerless to act. Kuya's recollection ended there. Fractured and incomplete. That is where my memory cuts off. The next thing he remembered was Seika holding him tightly, shielding him. You are safe now. And for the first time that day, Kuya's heart felt at ease. When I woke up, I realized I had been saved by Lord Inui. The roar of present-day screams snapped him back to reality. Around him, girls shrieked in excitement, swarming. It is Lord Inui, Lord Inui. Number 1, in the chaos, Kuya was shoved hard to the side, stumbling in confusion. A brown-haired girl pushed past him, eyes fixed only on her idol. Out of the way, it is Lord Inui. The fan frenzy jarred Kuya back into himself. His chest throbbed with urgency. He is so famous. But wait, all this time I have just been standing here. I have something I need to say to him too. This is my one chance. Heart pounding, he clutched the worn book he always carried, the one he had cherished since childhood, and approached the hero who had once saved his life. Lord Inui, the things I must do to become a number. Seika blinked in surprise at the boy's sudden outpouring. Kuya's words spilled out in a single breath, raw and unrestrained. Lord Inui, do you remember me? You saved me so long ago. Ever since then, I have wanted nothing more than to become strong like you. His expression shifted, shadowed by frustration. I have tried my best, but... He laid bare the truth he had carried for years, voice trembling. My level and skills, they never improve, no matter how hard I struggle. And with every ounce of courage left in him, he asked the question that had consumed his heart. What must I do to become a number? Seika froze, unsure how to respond to such a direct and piercing question. Before anything more could happen, the brown-haired girl shoved Kuya hard, sending him sprawling to the ground. Out of the way, Inui, she cried. Pain shot through his side, and he instinctively rubbed the spot where he would landed. Then a familiar voice reached him. Big brother. Kuya turned, blinking in surprise. The blonde-haired girl he had saved earlier stood before him. You are. Recognition dawned, and a smile touched his lips. So it is you. I am glad you are safe. He barely had time to wink reassuringly before she darted past him with a bright, fleeting smile. Thank you for saving me. The gratitude in her eyes contrasted sharply with the melancholy that crossed Kuya's face. He pushed himself upright, forcing his legs to steady beneath him. Ignoring the laughter and chatter behind him, without glancing back at the lively crowd surrounding Seika, he turned away, determined to leave. I still have to get to school, he muttered, clinging to the excuse so he would not have to dwell on the ache inside. Meanwhile, a reporter's voice rang through the streets. We are live on the scene at Shibuya, where a disaster alert struck during rush hour. A pack of monsters suddenly appeared. On the large outdoor screens, the broadcast continued, praising Seika's bravery. Lord Inui has successfully neutralized the threat. As always, his actions were swift and impressive. Thanks to him, peace has been preserved in Shibuya. Seika, however, remembered the bitter lessons of the past. It is the duty of us numbers to ensure that what happened 6 years ago never happens again. We fight for the lives of humanity. Kuya, watching the interview on the screen as he walked, felt his chest tighten when he heard the next exchange. 6 years ago, the reporter said, you mean the special disaster class incident, the worst in history? Seika nodded. Yes, my fellow numbers paid a heavy price in that battle. Kuya's face betrayed nothing, but inside, the words stirred an ache he could not voice. The microphone moved closer. But it was you, was not it? Lord Inui, you defeated it. That is what made you a living legend. For the first time. Seika faltered. Defeated? No. At that time, his words trailed off. A chorus of adoring voices broke in, women swooning. Lord Inui, he raised a hand in thanks, a modest gesture that only deepened the crowd's affection. The reporter wrapped up. Her voice crisp. And that concludes our report live from Shibuya. Kuya's steps grew heavier as he slipped away, sadness shadowing his features. But before he could disappear into the crowd, a hand fell across his shoulder. There you are, Hachiko. Off to school, Tanba leaned in, all false camaraderie. Kuya blinked in surprise. Huh, Tanba. Without warning, the dark-haired boy drove his foot into Kuya's stomach, knocking the air from him. Who do you think you are, calling Lord Taban by name? He sneered. Tanba's voice dripped with scorn, his insults relentless. Lord Taban is a candidate for the next generation of numbers. He is a rising star, you know that. A worthless level 8 failure like you, Hachiko, has no business speaking so casually to him. Then, with mock righteousness, Tanba waved his friends back. Hey, ease up, guys. His tone shifted. Smug with self-preservation, we would not want people around here to misunderstand. After all, we are just classmates. A crushing sense of inferiority weighed on Kuya's chest. Ryoji Tanba, he is the same age as me, yet he is already a true rising star, the one who set the record for. Kuya knew full well where Tanba stood in the hierarchy. For people like us, he is on a completely different level. That day, Tanba's sudden friendliness felt out of place. Hey, Hachiko, I was thinking of hitting the bowling alley with the guys. Kuya refused immediately, hoping to avoid getting entangled in trouble. I can't skip class. Tanba's two lackeys burst out laughing, mocking him mercilessly. He really thinks he is being invited, what a joke. Boring. Tanba's grin sharpened as he shifted the tone, draping his threat in casual words. I am a little strapped for cash lately. Lend me some, will you? Kuya's voice dropped, bitter with resentment. Lend, you never pay back. Besides, you have got more money than I will ever see. Everyone knows your parents are loaded. For a moment, Tanba went still, then his expression twisted. You still do not get it, do you? Without shame, he raised his fist, sneering. Spending someone else's money feels the best, does not it, Hachiko? He yanked cash from Kuya's wallet with a triumphant smirk. Pathetic mutt. He waved the bills arrogantly. Would have been easier if you would just handed it over from the start. Blood welled in Kuya's mouth, but he swallowed his fury, shaking. Damn it all. Tanba, drunk on his own arrogance, kept pressing. The numbers must be swimming in cash, right? He turned to his cronies, chest puffed out. That is what I heard. If you climb to the top, you get power equal to the president himself. Then came the words that cut deepest. I would kill to be a number. Those guys have it all: money, women, the easy life. The disdain in his voice made Kuya's hands clench. You are wrong, he whispered. Then louder, shouting with every ounce of conviction, you are wrong. Kuya grabbed Tanba by the collar, eyes blazing. Don't you dare mock them. The numbers are not shallow trash like you. No matter how strong you think you are. Someone like you could never become a number. Tanba's face darkened, rage boiling over. What did you just say? He snapped his fingers, dismissing his earlier excuse. Forget bowling, boys. His voice echoed off the walls of a rundown apartment complex as he barked. Time to teach this insolent mutt a lesson. From a distance, it was obvious they were beating Kuya. Tanba's fists hammered into his face again and again. You think you can talk back to me, you level 8 piece of trash. Energy surged in Tanba's palm, the glow unmistakable. You know what my level is, do not you? A translucent interface flared to life, revealing his stats. Name, Ryoji Tanba. Skill, storage. Level, 2500. He sneered with absolute superiority. 2500. Do you get it now? Crushing an insect like you takes less than a second. But he was not finished. And my trump card. His grin twisted into something cruel, his very posture reeking of menace. Storage. Kuya flinched, his eyes darting upward as the reality of the skill sank in. Tanba's pride oozed from every word. My storage skill lets me take anything, claim it as mine, and pull it back out to use whenever I want. Shameless as ever, he even sounded proud of himself. Even a disaster my skill can store it. You said someone like me could never be one of the numbers, right? Then what about you, Hachiko? Tanba commanded the monster to strike. You think you will still be running your mouth after seeing this? He doubled over in laughter as he shoved Kuya closer to danger. Go on, run, or else you will be dinner. Unfortunately, Kuya twisted his ankle from sprinting too hard. The beast lunged, jaws gaping wide to swallow him whole. But Kuya suddenly leapt high into the air, forcing the creature to snap its teeth shut on nothing. Tanba's eyes tracked the monster as it repeatedly lunged at Kuya. Even the black-haired punk could not hide his surprise. Well, damn. No one could understand why he suddenly looked so rattled. Kuya's condition was clearly deteriorating. The short-haired lackey grew nervous. Hey, is this for real? He is about to die. But Tanba calculated everything against his own benefit. If we call an ambulance, maybe someone with a healing skill can save him. Think about it, we would just be random passers-by who stumbled on some weakling getting attacked by a disaster. And if I am the one who swoops in and saves him, my reputation will skyrocket. Plotting Kuya's downfall while feigning benevolence, he crouched down with a smirk. So, Hachiko, want me to save you? That is right. I will save you if you swear to be my dog for the rest of your life, you useless mutt. Kuya lay motionless on the ground, his body broken. He clenched his teeth, enduring, powerless to fight back. Tanba's foot came down on the book Kuya treasured most. A moment later he felt something solid under his sole. Sneering, he picked it up and mocked the effort behind it. Well, what do we have here? Push-ups and sit-ups, 300 a day. Really giving it your all, huh? He would not stop goading him. Pathetic. Busting your ass like that, and your level still won't rise, being useless must be hell. Why do not you just face reality? Every word dripped with venom. A guy with no level, no skill, will never be a number. You are nothing but a worthless mutt. Tears welled in Kuya's eyes as the humiliation cut deep. Why me? He raged against his cruel fate. Even trash like him has power, so why do not I? His body shook violently, his teeth chattering. So cold. Am I about to die? Is this really how it ends? Does my life mean anything at all? A voice rang out, scolding him. Muggin, pathetic fool. The others kept laughing brightly. What the hell was that? Kuya felt his body giving out completely. The world, it stopped. So this is the end. Even the Lord of Infinity seemed to throw up his hands. Humans are so fragile, barely pushed and they croak. Tanba froze in confusion. Who the hell? At last, Muggin revealed himself. I am Muggin. Have you already forgotten? 6 years ago. Kuya remembered vividly. Impossible. You were defeated by Inui in S-class disaster. But Muggin revealed the horrifying truth. Defeated. Wrong. I have been dwelling inside you for 6 years. Kuya balked at the claim. Inside me. The being recounted events from its own perspective. 6 years ago, drained of energy, I seized the body of some brat nearby. Back then Kuya had been too terrified to notice. Even Muggin himself sounded astonished. But I never expected to be absorbed into you. He sighed, heavy with disdain. Pathetic. And I have had to endure that same pathetic state for 6 years. Now, thanks to Kuya's brush with death, Muggin regained his true form. But with you so close to dying, I could finally break free. The Lord of Infinity whispered in Kuya's ear. You are about to die. Yet Kuya's wide eyes showed no panic. Muggin twisted the knife in his heart. So pitiful. Mocked by all, no one expecting anything of you, treated like a parasite. Do you know why? He spoke with cruel certainty. Because you are weak. There was no surprise in his voice. Power that is what you want, is not it. His intent was clear, to claim Kuya's body. My final gift to you. Now you can rest in peace. But the goodness in Kuya had not rotted away. Wrong. What I want is strength to protect others. Just like Inui saved me back then. I want that kind of power too. Kuya's eyes burned red, as though seized by another's will. Muggin's form began to twist, power wrapping around Kuya's body. Tanba stared, baffled. The hell? He noticed something drop to the ground. Muggin exulted, triumphant at last. I did it. I have claimed this body. He addressed the lingering mystery himself. Do you know why your level never rose? Now wearing Kuya's form, he answered coldly. Because you pushed it in the wrong direction. Dark, murderous energy poured off him in waves. Muggin had fully seized Kuya's body. The boy's eyes sharpened, a confident smile curling across his lips. Muggin, looking down at his newly acquired vessel, muttered with awe. So this is what a human body feels like. Tanba squinted, unsettled by the bizarre display. What the hell's wrong with this guy? He is still alive, tough little cockroach. Muggin pressed one finger against another and declared flatly, far too fragile. With the slightest touch, the finger snapped cleanly. Pathetic skill. Tanba's 2 lackeys burst into mocking laughter. What the hell is he doing? This bastard's lost it. But they did not notice the deranged smile stretching across Muggin's lips, his tongue snaking out to lick them hungrily, as if savoring prey. Don't die too soon, little flies. Now he no longer bothered to hide his hunger. His monstrous craving spilled out for all to see. Sunlight filtered through the cracks between towering buildings, spilling into an office where a voice called out, "I am back." Inside, a short-haired girl had been waiting for Seika's return. The moment he stepped through the door, she broke into a relieved cheer. "Welcome back. No casualties, just as expected." Thankfully, that area was sealed off in time. But Seika did not let victory dull his vigilance. He immediately reminded the woman beside him, "Shizuka, we can never predict when the next disaster will strike. As numbers, we must remain on guard." At that moment, Seika's thoughts flickered back to Kuya's fierce struggle. Ah! He lowered himself into his chair, rifling through the drawer beneath his desk. The sight made the short-haired girl tilt her head. "Something wrong?" Seika murmured while searching, trying to pull up a memory. "No, just a boy who spoke to me. Yes, I remember now, the child I saved during the disaster 6 years ago." But after rummaging for some time, he came up empty-handed, berating himself under his breath. "Careless of me. If only I had realized sooner." Then, suddenly, a mysterious violet pressure filled the room. Seika instantly recognized the anomaly, his brow furrowing. "What is this pressure?" He spun toward the window, dread already dawning on his face. "A disaster." Turning back to Shizuka, his voice hardened. "This one's on par with us. No stronger. Impossible." The terrifying force emanated from none other than Mugen, who had seized Kuya's body. Disaster class. Tanba and his crew, watching the display, grew livid. "What did you just call us, you mutt?" One of Tanba's men, unable to restrain his rage, lunged first. "Fly, what the hell is that supposed to mean?" Channeling a huge surge of energy, he prepared to strike. His furious roar shook the air. "Who the hell do you think you are, mouthing off like that? I will kill you." His fist punched clean through the body standing before him. But Mugen was no ordinary opponent. He countered instantly, conjuring ice that swirled violently. Tornado. The man was thrown across the floor, left unconscious in an instant. Tanba and the remaining lackey stood frozen, struck dumb by the scene. Mugen, however, reveled in it, his laughter booming. Like a madman, he exulted in the carnage. The feeling of bones shattering. Exquisite. 6 years it has been. Tanba's expression betrayed his disbelief. Who the hell is this guy? Is that really Hachiko? His last lackey, unwilling to grasp the danger, stepped forward with a sneer curling his lips. He gathered power into both arms, bracing against Mugen. No way. Before Tanba could stop him, the fool charged, spewing curses. You are nothing but a useless mutt, I will." From both his arms sprouted thorned tendrils, lashing around Mugen's body. Confident he had him bound, the man grinned triumphantly. "Got you. Easy catch." But he had no idea what he was dealing with. In a blink, Mugen slipped free, appearing right before his face. "Good." The Lord of Infinity raised his hand and pressed it against the forehead of Tanba's comrade. With nothing more than a light flick of Mugen's finger, the poor man was hurled backward like a rag doll. After toying with them for a while, Mugen let out a twisted, mocking grin. Boring. Far too boring. It seemed that the chaos so far was not nearly enough to satisfy him. With a voice that carried both hunger and cruelty, he declared, "I need something bloodier." For a moment he went silent, as though waiting, then his lips curled. "It is here." His gaze shifted over his shoulder, eyes narrowing as he sensed it. That thing. Tanba had somehow maneuvered behind him, already setting up a formation to counter. "Containment bag," he muttered with grim resolve. With a sharp look, Tanba shot back at Mugen, taunting him in return. "Don't let your guard down." In an instant, blades shot through the air, all aimed straight for Mugen. Hachiko, but this time, he did not look the least bit amused. With a casual sweep of his hand, the blades shattered into fragments before they could touch him. He sneered, "Not you." Tanba's brows furrowed deeply, his face betraying shock at the sight. Before he could react, Mugen struck back. His fist, seemingly gentle, connected with Tanba's face, yet the force was devastating. The impact flung Tanba across the room and slammed him into the wall. Pathetic little bird. Tanba's face was bloodied and bruised in an instant. But the thing Mugen had been waiting for truly arrived then. He cast a sharp glance behind him, voice low and taunting. "You're here, are not you?" The wall burst open as a massive tentacled monster forced its way inside. Hearing the crash, Mugen turned toward it, grinning with wicked delight. He faced the abomination directly, his eyes gleaming with exhilaration. You have come to witness my rebirth, have not you, boy? But almost immediately, he contradicted himself, laughing with a hint of madness. No, that is wrong. Creatures like you do not have the brains to find me on their own. You are here because of my power, are not you? Tanba, still staggering from the blow, saw it too. His body shook uncontrollably, a cold sweat soaking him. What the hell is going on? He whispered, terror tightening his throat. He had witnessed Mugen and the tentacled horror clash before, and the memory returned in a chilling thought. Whenever Hachiko suddenly grows stronger, some greater calamity appears. Mugen's aura flared violently, bursting with power. Tanba, staring at the impossible sight, doubted even his own senses. Am I dreaming? Now brimming with vitality, Mugen spread his arms and jeered at the monster before him. Come on then, let us get a little exercise. At that moment, deep within his own consciousness, Kuya stirred. His thoughts trembled in confusion. This power, what is it? Looking down at his still unscathed hands, he blinked in disbelief. I am still alive. Just a moment ago, I felt frozen to the bone. Outside, Mugen seemed to sense Kuya's lingering life as well. He tilted his head, voice cutting like a blade. What is wrong, kid? His sharp gaze flickered with amusement. And then his mouth twisted into another cruel grin. Still alive, are you? Mugen stepped forward slowly, as if he had accepted something inevitable. Fine by me. His expression twisted with a kind of perverse delight, as though he was savoring every second of what was happening. Power surged out from deep within his body, leaking into the world around him. He even mocked Kuya while doing so. Front row seat. Must feel good, huh? But inside his own consciousness, Kuya was baffled. Good, what the hell are you planning? Mugen locked eyes with the tentacled monster, his grin stretching unnaturally wide. What else? His voice rose in manic triumph. To relive the calamity from 6 years ago. The moment he mentioned it, images of that disaster flooded Kuya's mind, the ruins, the stench of death, the helplessness of sitting in the dirt with nothing he could do but watch. His chest tightened as the word echoed again in his mind. Relive. Meanwhile, Mugen revealed his scheme without hesitation. Filthy insects. I will kill this beast first, then pick up where I left off with humanity. His eyes widened unnaturally as if savoring the very thought. Continue the calamity from 6 years ago. That was when Kuya snapped. Deep inside his own consciousness, he surged to his feet, fury burning in his chest. I won't allow it. With unwavering resolve, he declared, this is my body. He thrust out his hand, every fiber of his will screaming in defiance. Give it back. Suddenly, Mugen staggered outside, clutching his chest, his face contorted in pain. What the hell, kid, what are you trying to do? But Kuya's willpower blazed like fire. Bit by bit, he wrested control away, dragging Mugen down and locking him deep within his subconscious. What just happened? Mugen roared, trapped inside. Kuya stared at his own hands, his chest rising and falling with disbelief. I am back, yet reality gave him no time to breathe. Tears welled in his eyes as he tilted his head upward, the towering tentacled monstrosity looming over him. From within, Mugen's enraged voice echoed. You brat, what have you done? Now, with nothing but his fragile human body and no powers to call his own, Kuya faced the monster head-on. His wide eyes flickered between shock and raw fear. From inside, Mugen sneered like a viper. You are dead for sure. The sinister voice pressed harder, trying to corrupt him. If you do not want to die, hand it back to me. Now. The tentacled monster lunged, striking with overwhelming speed. By sheer luck and instinct, Kuya barely dodged, his body moving with desperate agility. He froze for a second, stunned by what he saw, the beast twisting before him, something strange having pierced through its body. Without wasting the opportunity, Kuya clenched his fists and unleashed a flurry of counterattacks, striking the abomination with everything he had. From within, Mugen observed every move Kuya made with a predator's patience. But the more he watched, the more unsettled he became. This brat. He did not just take back his body. He is actually wielding my power. Kuya himself could barely process what was happening. My body's moving on its own. And that thing's attacks feel so slow. He surged forward, landing a solid blow right into the face of the tentacled beast. For the first time, confidence lit up in his chest. I can do this. But his relief did not last. The monster snapped a tendril around his leg, yanking him off the ground. Kuya's eyes widened as more appendages slithered around, one coiling tight around his waist. In an instant, he was hoisted upside down, dangling helplessly as the creature's hungry eyes scanned his body like prey. Mugen, locked inside, could feel it too, the pressure, the danger, and for once, even he held his breath, waiting to see what would happen. Yet Kuya's gaze did not tremble. Upside down in the beast's grasp, he exhaled slowly. Tough bastard. Then I will just. He closed his eyes for a moment, steadying himself. Focus. And then it happened. He tapped into the very force Mugen had boasted of. Learn how to use this power. The system's voice rang out inside his head like a decree. Name, Hoya Kamiage. Skill awakened, Infinity 1. Level, 8. A surge like nothing before coursed through him, his body overflowing with limitless strength. Kuya thrust his hand upward, unleashing a blast straight into the monster's head. The creature's skull detonated in an eruption of gore, its body collapsing mid-air before crashing to the ground in pieces. The building beneath them could not withstand the unleashed power. Walls crumbled, floors gave way, and the entire structure shattered around Kuya as he floated in the aftermath. He stood there dazed, staring blankly toward the horizon where the sun bled into dusk. Below him, the shredded corpse of the tentacled abomination lay scattered, twitching no more. Nearby, Tanba stirred, groaning back into consciousness. Kuya looked at the ruins around him, his voice shaky with disbelief. The whole building, blown apart. Inside, even Mugen faltered. The arrogance in his tone had vanished, replaced by stunned confusion. What the hell? How is this brat pulling it off? Kuya raised his trembling hands, staring at them as though they belonged to someone else. Behind him, hidden in his shadow, another presence lingered, a silent spirit watching over him. Taking in the destruction, Kuya whispered to himself, the weight of realization pressing down. So this is my first meeting with Infinity. The ground was littered with other fallen monsters, their lifeless bodies sprawled in grotesque silence. And this meeting, it is only the beginning of countless battles to come. And then somewhere amid the ruins a pair of piercing green eyes opened. A young man with snow-white hair sat casually atop a mound of corpses, chin resting in his hand as he looked forward with disinterest. His expression was calm, almost bored, as he muttered under his breath, I did not know a damn thing back then. How dull. That morning, the town seemed so peaceful, untouched by the chaos of the night before. Yet the news spoke otherwise, the disaster that appeared yesterday at the abandoned hospital. From inside room 204, the broadcast continued. The Capitol Police and the Disaster Response Force have launched an investigation. There are also reports that the numbers may have been involved. Another voice on the program added, many eyewitnesses saw the scene, but none could keep up with what happened. Kuya listened in silence, his chest tightening with unease. This has turned into a complete mess. His lips pressed into a hard line as his eyes stayed fixed on the screen. Footage showed a tentacled monster hurling people aside like dolls, leaving the area in ruins. Kuya lowered his gaze to his own hands, unable to hide the doubt flickering in his eyes. He glanced at the translucent system window before him and felt the strange hum of power under his skin. My level's back to 8. But my body does not feel like mine anymore. The strength, it is overflowing. He turned his head toward the mirror, only to recoil. Bright streaks of red hair had sprouted among his dark locks. His stomach sank. What the hell is this? Since when? Why is there a red patch on my head? I look like some kind of freak. No, yesterday. His eyes flew wide. Within them shone a dawning horror. He lifted his pants leg, and there it was clear as day, a wound carved into his shin. His breath caught. This was not a dream. Then came a mocking voice from above him. If you want to dream, go back to sleep. His foot had stepped into something slick on the floor. He froze, bewildered. Where am I? And then, standing before him, Mugen appeared, smirking, merciless, naive. The figure's presence flooded the room, and without hesitation he declared, you stand in the presence of the Lord of Infinity. With a gaze that looked down upon him like a sovereign addressing a worm, Mugen sneered. Who would have thought a human could look me in the eye? You should feel honored. Yet Kuya did not falter. Staring directly at the Lord of Infinity, he spoke with steady conviction, already knowing the truth of who stood before him. That is the special class calamity, Mugen, the one that descended 6 years ago. Stepping forward, Kuya challenged him head on. How dare you defile a human body for your own ends? You are a disaster, a calamity itself, so why stoop to things like this? Mugen only grinned, tilting his head in mock amusement. You ask why? The air thickened, his dark aura creeping closer, pressing against Kuya's skin, and then visions struck like knives, his mother and younger self, fleeing desperately from the chaos. His father running with them. Head turned back, unwilling to leave his family behind. The city lay in ruins. Mugen walked among corpses as though they were nothing but stepping stones beneath his feet. Kuya's eyes went wide, tears spilling over. His knees buckled, and he collapsed to the ground, crying out in anguish. His thoughts, they are pouring into my head. He could feel it, the flood of Mugen's essence pushing against his own soul. All he knows is destruction, slaughter, and an endless hunger to consume everything. Through blurred tears, Kuya lifted his head, staring at the Lord of Infinity. His voice trembled but carried defiance. But I won't let you. I won't let you be satisfied. Kuya quickly regained his composure, rose to his feet, and confronted him directly. This is my body. You can't escape from it either, can you? He demanded. Mugen did not deny it. With a flicker of resentment and puzzlement, he admitted, yes. I still do not understand what mechanism trapped me inside the body of someone like you, but... The Infinite Lord bared a wicked grin, his words sharp as a blade. If you die, this body will be mine. Yet instead of frightening him, those words only strengthened Kuya's resolve. His confidence burned brighter, as if defiance itself fueled him. Suddenly, Mugen covered his mouth and laughed in twisted delight. It won't take long. The vagueness of that remark made Kuya uneasy. What do you mean by that? He pressed. The Infinite Lord leaned in, voice dripping with mockery. Well then, why do you think that thing appeared yesterday? He was referring to the tentacled monstrosity that had nearly razed the city to the ground. Mugen explained its presence with chilling calm. They are moths drawn to a flame. And I am that flame. The devastation of yesterday still lingered, the screams of countless victims buried beneath rubble. A pandemonium of shrieking voices, Mugen murmured with relish, savoring the memory. His menace extended further, stretching beyond what had already happened. The world around you will soon become a living hell. At that, Kuya's expression tightened, realization dawning on him. Disasters converging on me. Mugen's gaze turned icy, death itself reflected in his eyes. Those gnats mean nothing to me. But sooner or later, you will die by my hand. With that, he rose into the air. Before departing, he sneered, taunting Kuya with cruel anticipation. Isn't it thrilling, watching you struggle in desperation, until then? And as if to drive the knife deeper, the Infinite Lord tossed him a parting mockery. Do try to stay alive. The scene shifted. A subway train thundered through the underground tunnels. Inside the carriage, Kuya sat silently, lost in thought as the events replayed in his mind. Fight me? The question echoed within him, heavy and uncertain. Yet even as doubt gnawed at him, his eyes sharpened with resolve. No, I can't. No matter what, I can't rely on the power of disaster. Still, unease clung to him like a shadow. His concern stretched beyond himself, to everyone else. This is not just something I can shoulder alone. It is not only my problem, it is a threat to humanity. And there is only one person who can handle this. Kuya stared intently at the glowing screen of his phone. On it, a location marker blinked. His lips moved faintly. Inui. With steely determination, he whispered to himself. If I explain everything to him clearly, he will help me. He has to. The train screeched to a halt. Kuya prepared to disembark, murmuring under his breath, heading to the number assembly. But just as he stepped out, he found himself face to face with a blonde-haired thug. Recognition lit the man's eyes, and he smirked. Well, if it is not Hachiko. The blonde and his cronies closed in, one of them gripping Kuya's shoulder with mocking familiarity. What is a useless piece of trash like you doing here, playing it cool, are we? Then, in a sudden twist, the blonde offered with a sneer, since you are here, why do not we have some fun? Kuya simply brushed it off with calm restraint. Sorry, I am in a hurry. Maybe another time. His refusal only emboldened the thug, who burst out laughing and jeered even louder. Well, Tanba's little pet is growing a backbone, huh? The blonde thug clenched his fist tightly, a twisted grin spreading across his face as he stepped closer. Why do not we teach you a lesson in Tanba's place? A mutt like you should know when to keep his mouth shut. He swung his fist hard, aiming straight for Kuya's face, spitting insults as he did. And do not forget to wag your tail. Kuya's eyes opened slowly after the blow landed, yet something felt off. No pain, he thought in bewilderment. The blonde clutched his own arm, wailing in agony. My arm. Seeing that, the curly-haired one rushed forward despite Kuya's attempt to stop him. What did you do? Wait, stop. But with just a light shove, Kuya sent the curly-haired thug flying across the platform. Kuya stood frozen, staring at what had just happened, unable to form words. Slowly, he walked toward the curly-haired boy who was sprawled out on the ground and asked with genuine concern. What was that? Sorry. Are you okay? Before he could get an answer, the ground rumbled. From beneath the subway tracks, a massive earthworm-like monster erupted, its gaping maw lunging toward them. The curly-haired thug's eyes went wide in terror. A disaster, he screamed. Kuya's heart skipped a beat. It really came, he thought, stunned. The creature writhed and surged toward them, but Kuya reacted instinctively. He grabbed the curly-haired boy and leapt aside, narrowly avoiding the monster's snapping jaws. With one motion, he hurled the boy into a safer spot away from danger. As his body moved, Kuya's mind reeled. That movement just now. His eyes flicked to a reflective surface nearby a mirror on the wall. Was that really me? The monstrous worm slithered closer, bearing down on them. Kuya glanced over his shoulder at it, turmoil twisting inside him. What do I do? Can I really fight it? A girl nearby shrieked, her face pale with terror. Civilians cried out desperately, their voices cracking with fear. Help us. And then, before Kuya's eyes, one of the worms tore through a man, devouring him alive. Corpses littered the ground as more of the creatures surfaced, gnawing mercilessly on human flesh. Kuya's chest tightened. They hunger for me. This is my fault, he thought bitterly, surrounded by carnage. Everyone will. But instead of crumbling, Kuya stood tall, defiance burning in his chest. My name is Kuya Kamakami. Skill level 8, helping others. That has always been my dream. But reality is the exact opposite. A surge of energy suddenly coursed through his body, raw and overwhelming. His eyes narrowed, doubt flickering in them. So this is the power of disaster. Can someone as worthless as me even be allowed to choose? Even he did not understand the source of this strength. Is this a gift from the heavens? Or a curse of calamity? Then, as the storm within him broke free, Kuya unleashed a primal scream, his power erupting in full force. At that moment, the system's voice echoed within him. Kuya Kamakami has awakened the infinite. His gaze sharpened, unwavering as he fixed his eyes on the threat ahead. This is my power, he affirmed to himself. Without hesitation, he charged forward, hurling himself straight at the monstrous earthworm. With a single crushing blow, the beast was sent flying, and the terrified girl below narrowly escaped death. Kuya's movements brimmed with newfound confidence. He rushed headlong into the chaos, striking down one creature after another as he reassured himself in silence. I can do this. Infinite. If you want my body, his fists crashed into another worm, tearing it apart. Then I will claim your power too. Onlookers below froze in astonishment as they witnessed Kuya effortlessly tearing through the swarm. Gasps and cries of disbelief rippled through the crowd. Kuya stood tall, his silhouette fierce and commanding as he perched atop the corpse of a fallen worm. High above, Mugen watched, his expression darkening with confusion. What is this? Even he could not comprehend what was unfolding. He is actually using my power again. Kuya staggered, his breath ragged as he stared at his trembling hands. Suddenly his eyes widened, as if struck by a realization. The girl he had saved rushed toward him, gratitude shining in her tearful gaze. Thank you so much. More voices joined hers, the crowd surrounding him in awe. Thank you, incredible. Are you a ranker? He is just like one of the numbers. Meanwhile, the blonde and the curly-haired thugs slumped against the wall, panting heavily, still reeling from their brush with death. Kuya clenched his fist tightly, as though sealing a decision within himself. Closing his eyes, one word reverberated in his heart, Hachiko. The echoes of ridicule and scorn stabbed at him once more. Useless mutt. But instead of faltering, he pushed forward, sprinting with resolve burning in his chest. Mugen, I won't let you take control. At the same time, inside the city hospital, the halls remained quiet, almost eerily calm. From within one of the patient rooms, a voice kept calling the same name over and over, Hachiko. Hachiko. Tanba, battered and bandaged, lay sprawled on his bed, yet still found the strength to curse through gritted teeth. That damn mutt. I won't forgive you. A nurse appeared at the doorway, knocking politely. Mr. Tanba, someone's here to see you. Hearing that, irritation flashed across his face. I told you do not let anyone in. But the visitor outside spoke up, his tone dry and teasing as he glanced in at the bedridden youth. That is no way to treat the people looking after you. The nurse's cheeks turned pink as she realized who it was. Standing there, calm and imposing, was Seika Inui. His eyes swept over the room as he added, then again, I can't say I am surprised. Ryoji Tanba. Tanba's expression soured the moment he recognized him. He snarled, voice cracking with anger, numbers. Inui, you. Seika and Mitsumi stepped inside together. Seika gave him a measured look before asking casually, how's the injury? You are lucky, really. That was not just any incident, you went up against a high-level calamity and somehow lived to tell about it. Tanba's gaze shifted uneasily when he noticed Mitsumi beside Seika. Suspicion clouded his thoughts. She is a number 2. What business would bring 2 big names here of all places? Seika did not waste time circling around. He came straight to the point. We are currently investigating the one who actually brought down that calamity. If you know anything, I would like you to tell us. The words hit Tanba like a jolt. Brought it down. His mind involuntarily replayed the image of Kuya standing against the monstrous tentacle beast. Grinding his teeth, his face stiff, he muttered through clenched jaws, Hachiko. Was it? But then he snapped, growling low in his throat before barking back at them, don't mess with me. He jabbed a finger at his own chest, forcing conviction into his words. It was me. I am the one who defeated that calamity. Without hesitation, he leaned forward, eyes burning with desperation as he made his pitch. So, Inui, make me a number. You can do it, can't you? The truth clawed at him inside, but Tanba smothered it ruthlessly. Like hell I will admit that Mutt saved me. I am still stronger than him. Beside him, Mitsumi's bubblegum popped, loud in the tense air. Seika's eyes flicked toward her, then back to Tanba, finally piecing together the hatred burning in the boy's stare. So that is how it is. A faint, almost kind smile curved Seika's lips. For now, just focus on recovering. What? No wait, Inui, don't go. Let me come back, Tanba shouted, clawing at the sheets, his voice breaking with frustration as they left him behind. Out in the hallway, Mitsumi scoffed, her voice dripping with disdain. What the hell's wrong with that guy, acting all tough pathetic? Can you believe I actually used to like him? Seika chuckled softly at her venomous tone, shaking his head. Don't be so harsh. He is still a rising star, in his own way. Mitsumi wrinkled her nose in disgust. That guy, please. I would not touch him if he were the last man alive. Her words faded as Seika's thoughts returned to the matter at hand. Anyway, about the real survivor. I wonder if they are here. Who could it be? After a while talking, the two of them stepped out in front of the hospital gates. He revealed that person's identity to her, number 13, the one making headlines recently. Seriously, is that even okay, if the opponent is a special class ability user? Then we will need a ranker of equal standing. Amidst the bustling crowd, a young man with platinum hair strode forward, drawing all eyes. A prodigy destined to become the strongest, people whispered. His sharp, calculating gaze swept the surroundings. His name, Kei Kusanagi. The sun blazed down on the city, high-rise towers gleaming against the sky. Kuya stood wide-eyed, taking it all in, tilting his head back. He recognized immediately the numbers association. Every piece of information about disasters is stored here, and rankers from all across Japan gather in this place. Rankers. In other words, those who make a living by conquering disasters. That unshakable determination returned to his eyes. He wanted to step inside. Everyone in there was said to be an exceptional talent. This is also the headquarters of the numbers, the 10 pillars of the ranker world. Hope lit up Kuya's face as he gazed at the towering building. That means Inui is here too. Deep inside, he made a vow, I need to find a way to suppress the disaster within me. But when it comes to Mugen, I still have no means of controlling him. The thought gnawed at him. One day, Mugen might seize full control of his body. If he ever gets that chance. But Kuya's eyes burned with resolve as he told himself. Then when that time comes, I will need someone I can trust to end me. He knew that the only one who could save him was inside this skyscraper. The only person capable of that is Inui. Straightening his back, Kuya strode into the building. Let us go. At the reception desk, young women greeted him with warm smiles. Thank you for waiting. How may I assist you? Kuya blinked in surprise. The receptionists. They look exactly the same. Is this an ability? Maybe only one of them is real, and the rest are duplicates or projections. One of the receptionists stepped forward, smiling confidently. How can I help you? Kuya stumbled over his words. I want to see Inui. After running a quick check, she gave him her answer. I am sorry, Mr. Inui is currently busy. Would you like to book an appointment? Kuya shook his head politely. That is all right. I would rather wait for him. Her eyes narrowed with professional curiosity. Then may I have your name and age? After hesitating, Kuya finally spoke. Kuya Kamakami, 17 years old. The receptionist tapped through some files and suddenly gasped. You have not registered your ability yet, have you? Kuya froze, stunned. The woman's expression sharpened, her tone carrying a warning edge. Ability registration is mandatory for every individual. If you have been avoiding it, that is a serious offense. Quickly, Kuya rushed to clear the misunderstanding. And no, it is not that. I do not even know how to explain it. But my ability has never manifested. The receptionist studied him carefully, deep in thought, before her lips curved into a knowing smile. I see. In that case, please register your ability first. Kuya nodded after a moment of silence, then added, could you also help me register as a ranker, please? After hearing his answer, the receptionist quickly began the registration process at the back desk. Understood. We will proceed with registering your ability. Please place your hand here. This machine will analyze your skill and complete the registration. But Kuya immediately waved it off, asking something else instead. Wait. Before that, could you explain to me what a ranker actually is? Mugen, watching from inside Kuya's body, only sighed in boredom. How dull. His gaze swept across the surroundings with disdain. A bunch of insects. At some point, without Kuya even realizing, someone had appeared behind him. Kei was radiating a dark, oppressive energy as he slowly advanced toward Kuya. Seeing him, Mugen raised an eyebrow, almost intrigued. Oh. Meanwhile, the receptionist continued after sorting the paperwork. When you register as a ranker, you will be given a rank. Your rank increases each time you defeat a disaster and complete missions assigned by the association. She added more explanation. The top 10 rankers are known as the numbers. They wield tremendous power and prestige. Strive to reach that level. Her voice droned on, going through the endless rules. Now, I must explain a few regulations. Using abilities in fights between rankers is strictly prohibited and will result in severe punishment. Please be mindful of this. Listening carefully, Kuya's eyes lit with realization. So, I can actually become a ranker. But almost instantly, something froze him in place. Wait. A terrifying thought struck him. This is not the time to celebrate. If I go through with this, Mugen might be exposed. But before he could stop the process, the machine chimed. Registration complete. The receptionist looked up with a smile. Congratulations. You are now officially a ranker. Kuya could only lift his head and accept his fate. Thank God. Now then, Kuya Kamakami, here is your level and ability, she announced. Kuya held his breath, his heart pounding. My ability. What is it going to be? The receptionist glanced at the monitor, blinking in surprise. Oh my, this is strange. On the screen, his skill slot was completely blank. No ability detected. Could this be a system error? Though confused, Kuya felt an odd sense of relief. Good. If my ability had been revealed as Mugen, or the disaster inside me, it would have been catastrophic. Still, the receptionist frowned, clearly unsettled. We will need to conduct further review. Kuya quickly waved his hands. No, it is fine. This is good enough for me. And then, without warning, Kei had closed the distance, standing directly behind Kuya. So, you are Kuya Kamakami. Startled to hear his own name, Kuya turned his head slowly, suspicion in his eyes. Who are you? Kei's sharp blue eyes bored into him without blinking. Suddenly, Kei unleashed his power in a strike aimed straight at Kuya. I can feel it. The blow ripped through the reception area, tearing a massive hole in the counter. Fortunately, Kuya reacted in time. dodging K's attack and instantly appearing behind him. Kuya glared at the white-haired young man, fury flashing in his eyes as a single thought burned in his mind. What the hell? K slowly turned to face him head-on, the tension between them thick enough to choke the air. Around them, bystanders whispered in shock and confusion. The reception desk, it changed just now. What did he just do? Though K wore a faint smile, his eyes carried the weight of suspicion, as if he had already pieced something together. His voice dropped, edged with certainty. Don't tell me, you are the one. The moment K sent the reception desk flying, the crowd erupted into a nervous buzz. What is happening? Are rankers about to fight? One of the receptionists, clearly irritated, raised her voice at him. Hey, fighting between rankers is forbidden, and especially inside the association. K glanced back at her with a dark, almost menacing look, and the other receptionists quickly shifted aside, their voices chiming in unison. This incident will be reported. Kuya, his eyes blazing with determination, stood his ground and glared at K. His eyes widened, but his mind went blank, unable to form a single coherent thought. K studied him closely, a knowing smirk tugging at his lips. You dodged, which means. His grin widened, but the weight of his question hung heavy in the air. Could it be you are the one? The murmurs in the crowd grew louder. Someone finally recognized the white-haired young man. That is Kusanagi. Another asked in confusion, is he really that famous? A wary man quickly explained, his voice low and tense. Famous, more like infamous. Ranked 13 Kusanagi K. The color in K's face turned darker, his aura oppressive, and the man continued, raising his voice in warning. A lunatic who is always hunting for strong opponents. Everyone, get back before you get caught in the crossfire. Panic rippled instantly through the crowd, people scattering to avoid becoming collateral. Kuya's tone grew firm as he confronted K. Why the hell are you doing this out of nowhere? He added sharply, you are putting everyone in danger. But K only shot back without hesitation. Danger, strange choice of words. I heard you are supposed to be stronger than me. Those words left Kuya stunned. K's mind drifted back to the previous day. He recalled Seika summoning him with an unsettling calm. K had frowned suspiciously. What is this about, Inui? Why drag me out to a place like this? You are not planning to fight me, are you? K asked, half smirking. But Seika only gestured toward the chair across from him. Not this time. Sit down, it is something else. Uninterested, K had turned to leave. Then I am out. That is when Seika baited him with a casual remark. Shame. I just ordered a premium glass of milk. The mention alone made K's shoulders stiffen. He froze mid-step, visibly shaken. Moments later, he was back in his seat, chugging down the drink with barely contained eagerness. I will finish this and then I am gone. Only when the glass was empty did Seika lean in, his tone dropping. I need you to get close to someone, the one who confronted the disaster this morning and lived. K shrugged, unfazed. So what? Seika did not mince words. You felt it too, did not you, the pressure it radiated? That thing was nearly at the level of a special grade disaster. If it has been taken down, then whoever survived, he paused, letting the implication hang, might be stronger than Takakan. K froze, his mind turning over the weight of that claim. As Seika rose to leave, he tossed one last hook over his shoulder, his voice laced with deliberate provocation. I want to know if his goals align with ours. If you won't figure it out, then I will. K sat there for a long moment, silent, before a smile spread across his face. He understood exactly what Seika had done. So you want me to fight him? Huh, he exhaled slowly, eyes sharpening. Depending on how it plays out, maybe I will. Hearing those words, K's eyes narrowed with suspicion. Seika turned to glance at him, but K only sipped his milk with unhurried ease. Setting his now empty glass down on the table, K declared coldly, the one who should be fighting you, is me. The two of them walked off in opposite directions, but before leaving, K added a promise, when the time comes, I will accept your challenge. Without a doubt. Back in the present, K lifted his gaze to the glowing status panel hovering above Kuya's head. With a mocking curl of his lips, he recited every line of it aloud. Name, Kuya Kamakami. Skills, none. Level, 8. Rank, none. Kuya Kamakami, level 8, no ranking. Your stats are garbage. And yet. The white-haired young man's tone turned taunting. That is not the whole story, is it? Kuya's eyes burned with determination, but a shiver crawled across his scalp. He could feel it with frightening clarity. Staring at Kay, he knew at once that this man's strength was anything but ordinary. Compared to him, Tanba is nothing. This is a whole different league. Kay raised his hand, ready to strike. He did not seem willing to wait any longer, unleashing his power to drag Kuya closer. If you won't come to me, then I will bring you. Stop, Kuya shouted, resisting with all he had. I do not want to fight you. But Kay's expression was merciless as he answered, then stop me. The white-haired man's force pulled at him, slowly reeling Kuya toward him despite his attempt to turn and flee. Damn it, what do I do? Panic twisted in his chest. His mind raced. If I am defeated here, Mugen will appear. Clenching his teeth, Kuya swore inwardly, I can't let that happen. His eyes hardened with resolve. Behind him, Kay gathered energy into a dense orb, waiting for the moment Kuya would be forced in range. Come on, Kay goaded, voice sharp and commanding. Hurry up and show me. The glowing sphere swelled to its limit, trembling with the promise of destruction. Kuya felt the pressure of it bear down on him, dread crawling into his gut. This is bad. That thing will destroy me. He desperately sought a way to evade it until his eyes flicked behind him. That was when he saw a small boy crouched on the ground, frozen, unable to move. Dodge, hurry, his instincts screamed. But Kuya could not. The child was right there, vulnerable. Kuya's heart clenched. He shouted, his voice raw and urgent, warning the man before him. Wait, there is a child. But it was already too late. The white-haired young man had unleashed the sphere, firing it straight at Kuya. A blinding flash erupted inside the high-rise, flooding the entire building with white light. Kay held his stance, smoke curling heavily behind him. His sharp eyes narrowed as he muttered, no matter how you look at it. Fortunately, Kuya had turned back just in time, clutching the boy to his chest and shielding him from the blast. Kay's expression shifted as realization struck. So, you are not level 8 after all. Holding the crying child in his arms, Kuya's voice rang with fury. Cut it out, what the hell are you trying to do? He gently set the boy down, then glared at Kay, his words laced with anger. Isn't that power supposed to defeat disasters? Isn't it meant to protect people? Kay only scoffed, dismissing him with a cold retort. And if it is not? It was clear this white-haired man cared nothing for the world around him. His obsession was with himself, with the thrill of battle. I fight for pleasure alone. Human or calamity, it does not matter. His face darkened, twisting into a grotesque smile. All I want is to test the limits of my strength. Kuya's eyes blazed with defiance as he shot back, don't screw around. His voice cut like a blade, condemning the man before him. With power like that, you are no different from a calamity yourself. Kay only cast him a disdainful glance, spitting out, so what? Another sphere flared to life in his hand, which he immediately hurled toward Kuya, taunting him, then defeat me. But in the same breath, he pulled it back, the energy swirling behind him. Now the two stood face to face, the distance between them reduced to a heartbeat. The white-haired man drew back his fist, aiming it at Kuya, who stiffened in shock. What? Thankfully, Kuya's reflexes saved him. He narrowly dodged the punch, his body shifting backward in a sudden blur. For a split second, even he could not comprehend it. What the? I teleported. His eyes flicked toward Kay, who was already setting up another stance. Kuya's instincts screamed, that stance again, it is coming. In the blink of an eye, Kay warped forward, materializing right in front of him. His hand shot out, gripping Kuya's chin and forcing his face upward. Then Kay raised his leg, ready to deliver a merciless kick. In that instant, Kuya realized the truth. It is not that I am moving, I am being dragged into this fight. Kay did not hesitate. His kick slammed brutally into Kuya's body. Deep within his mind, Mugen bore witness to the clash and let out a dark chuckle. So that is what it is. This kind of power. Interesting. Inside Kuya, Mugen's voice rang out with a wicked chuckle. Now, die for me, kid, and then hand your body over to me. Kuya refused to back down. He spun around, fists ready to strike Kay. The white-haired man mirrored the motion, fists already poised as if anticipating the attack. It was only now that Kuya realized the truth, this time. It is from behind. Luck abandoned him, and the next moment he was struck backward, flying across the floor. K pressed the advantage, lunging straight toward him. From above, he glanced down at Kuya with a mocking tone. "Weren't you saying you did not understand? Why are you acting so confident?" K's dark eyes fixed on him, while Kuya gritted his teeth, clenching his fists in anger. He surged forward, attempting to take the initiative. Though doubts lingered in his mind. "He keeps dragging me around, firing energy, but I do not even know what his ability really is." Observing him, Kuya pieced together one truth: every time he tightens his fist, I get teleported. Determined, Kuya closed the distance. "Then fine. Melee it is." K, however, was already ahead of him, smirking. "Your fighting style. So boring." This time, luck was not on Kuya's side. K's punch struck directly to his face. Another followed. K grabbed him by the collar, his fist radiating immense power, and began raining blow after blow on Kuya, leaving him no room to counter. Kuya's face was battered, and shame burned in his chest. Too strong. I can't win in close combat. Yet, he quickly steeled himself, gathering resolve. So what? He revealed his past, speaking with firm conviction. I have always been useless. But compared to then, I am different now. K's fist froze midair. Kuya gritted his teeth, clenching his hands with unwavering determination. I can fight. That is all I need. That is enough to win. But K easily caught Kuya's fist, sneering down at him. Pathetic. You are hopeless. One hand held Kuya's punch in place, while the other began gathering energy for another strike. Kuya's mind raced, predicting the incoming attack. Damn it. K unleashed a sphere straight into Kuya's stomach, a brilliant flash erupting from the high-rise above. The sound of footsteps clicked sharply on the floor. It is over. K turned, a faint trace of disappointment crossing his face. Fooled by Inui. Not fun at all. Then, a red surge of energy shot straight toward him. Mugen had seized control of Kuya's body, his grin wicked and sly. The kid's unconscious. Hand control over to me. K's eyes widened in surprise as Mugen's voice echoed. With a malevolent smirk, Mugen prepared to strike, taunting K before the attack. Now, it is your turn to entertain me. Try to hold on, mushroom head. Mugen's face twisted into a grotesque grin as he looked at K, his long tongue slithering out as if he were savoring the moment. Your turn, he hissed with a disturbing hunger. K froze, stunned at Kuya's sudden transformation. Huh. Before him now stood someone entirely different. No, the appearance was still the same, but the personality radiating from Mugen was completely alien. K's mind raced, a mix of disbelief and suspicion. Like a whirlwind, Mugen lunged forward, moving so fast that K could not react in time. With a single strike, K's head seemed to vanish, a cruel illusion. As blood spattered to the floor, everything had happened in an instant, leaving K momentarily convinced he had been killed. But it was just a trick. His body remained intact, and the overwhelming force of Mugen's presence left him shaken. Mugen laughed darkly, reveling in the chaos. I almost killed you, but you dodged just in time. Can you even fight back? I can sense it. The scent is familiar. K, unnervingly calm, let a smile creep across his face, mirroring Mugen's own twisted joy. Seizing an opening, he counterattacked. From above, Mugen looked down, assessing him. Your ability is obvious now. K unleashed a barrage of energy spheres toward Mugen, but it seemed the creature before him had already deduced the source of his power. It is compression, or something like it. You condense matter and space, right? K did not hide it this time. Exactly, he admitted, forming a sphere of energy in his hand. My skill is compression. He explained the destructive potential of the ability with cold precision. If it hits, pain alone is not enough to describe it. The sphere shot toward Mugen's face, yet he showed no fear. Instead, he laughed with perverse delight and effortlessly blocked the attack. A mocking grin spread across Mugen's face. Interesting, your skill. Now it was Mugen's turn to counterattack. He drove a fist toward K, words dripping with contempt, something even a disaster cannot wield. But alas. The punch struck K squarely, giving him no chance to evade. He was sent sprawling to the ground. Mugen looked down at him with a twisted smile, his tone dripping with scorn. A rat sharpening its fangs. K, however, was not one to yield easily. He secretly gathered energy for a counterstrike, muttering to himself, still no match for the tiger's claws. He sent another energy sphere at Mugen, but the creature's agility allowed him to dodge effortlessly. Yet, the blow grazed one of Mugen's arms, severing it. To Kay's shock, Mugen did not falter. Instead, he seemed delighted. Exactly as I like it. In mere seconds, Mugen's arm regenerated, but this time it was twice as massive as the original. His grotesque smile widened with pride at the display. Kay's eyes widened in disbelief as he watched Mugen's monstrous body adapt and grow, realizing just how formidable his opponent had become. Mugen lunged at Kay again, but Kay's mind was racing with disbelief. Regenerating an arm. What is this? Is this even human? With a swift grab, Mugen seized Kay by the collar, just as he had done to Kuya before. The force threw Kay backward violently, sending him sprawling across the floor. Lying there, clutching his chest, Kay could not help but let out a laugh, a mix of astonishment and grudging respect. Incredible, he admitted silently. A blinding light erupted from Kay's body, a manifestation of his absolute domain. He hovered above the ground, his face alight with anticipation. Finally, a worthy opponent, he murmured, satisfaction etched in every line of his expression. Mugen mirrored his excitement, radiating a lethal aura as he readied himself. I have only just begun, he declared, the intensity of his presence filling the room. Before anyone could intervene, the two charged at each other, the air crackling with raw power. A receptionist, tears welling in her eyes, stammered in protest, "Number. Stop." Onlookers held their breath, witnessing the clash of titans unfold. Just then, Seika appeared, stepping decisively between them. The receptionist's eyes widened in astonishment at the sight. Mugen's fist was mere inches from Kay's head, and Kay's hand mirrored the movement, reaching the apex of his strike. The tension was electric. Suddenly, a burst of golden energy exploded where the two forces nearly collided, gradually fading into the air. Seika had arrived just in time, holding a defensive shield against Kay and a sword to counter Mugen. His voice was sharp, demanding, "What do you think you are doing?" Both Kay and Mugen paused, puzzled by Seika's interference. Members of the numbers group swiftly gathered, their voices calling out, "Kay." Kay, however, smiled with defiance, intent on a one-on-one duel with Mugen. "Don't interfere," he warned. Mitsumi, positioning her sword toward Kay, threatened him firmly, "Stay still, now." A blue light flickered from Kay's gaze, met by Mitsumi's own purple aura. Seika stood beside them, his tone stern and commanding, "Kay, that is enough." The entire numbers team assumed battle stances, ready for anything. Seika's warning cut through the tension, "If you continue, even you won't withstand it." Observing the scene, Mugen finally spoke, his voice taunting, "Isn't this the so-called hero? Long time no see." "Still not enough, kid." He unleashed his power, clearly intent on confronting Seika this time. "Decide it now. 6 years ago, you were trapped by me alone." The Infinite Lord's grin widened, provocatively challenging them, "Come." Seika, however, ignored Mugen, causing the latter to curse in frustration, "Damn it." Meanwhile, Kuya regained control of his body. Mugen was once again trapped within his consciousness. "This damned body," he muttered in irritation. Kuya looked down at the floor, a sudden realization dawning on him, it is happening again. Seika quickly stepped forward to support him. Despite Kuya's weakened body, his mind raced with a burning question, how can I become a number? Suddenly, a memory flashed, Kuya clutching a notebook, screaming, a scene from 6 years ago. Seika's face reflected recognition. He remembered the child he had saved all those years ago. Gently cradling Kuya, Seika turned to leave, drawing the attention of everyone around them. "Wait," someone called out. Kay raised a hand to cover his mouth, declaring to Seika, "He is my prey. Don't even think about handing him over." Seika's gaze hardened as he made his decision. "Step aside, Kay. The numbers will decide what to do with this child depending on the situation, and the same goes for you." Kay's eyes widened, clearly taken aback. Seika's tone was firm, a mixture of warning and authority. "I only want to know if he is on our side. You have already broken the rules, and you must bear the consequences heavily." Cradling Kuya, Seika passed by Kay and muttered under his breath, almost to himself, "So convenient." Escorted by the numbers team, Seika quickly exited, but before leaving, he left Kay with a pointed remark. "Then perhaps you should join the convenient side as well, Kusanagi Kay." Kuya slowly opened his eyes. He was confined in a strange room, tightly bound to a chair, his surroundings alien. "Where am I?" he wondered, glancing around. Behind him, he saw that his body was firmly secured to the chair. Seika approached, observing him carefully. "It seems you have regained consciousness," he said. Kuya's eyes lit up at the sight of him. "Inui. Seika," he thought. Seika wasted no time and immediately issued a list of charges: avoid illegal combat, destruction of property, and related offenses. Glancing at two members standing nearby, he delivered the final judgment: therefore, the sentence is execution. Fear surged through Kuya as the words sank in. He could not comprehend what was happening to him. Kuya furrowed his brows, bewildered as he struggled against the restraints. "Why am I being sentenced to death?" The chair held him tight, preparing him for the execution, infinite awakening. Above him appeared a figure of death, a grim reaper wielding a long blade. Cold jade green air emanated from the weapon, chilling the room as if drawing life itself from the underworld. Kuya's voice caught in his throat. "What is this?" Seika's expression was stern, his hands firmly planted on the table as he pronounced the sentence: "Kuya Kamakami, your death sentence is hereby carried out." Kirusu. Kuya's mouth fell open in shock as he looked up at the grim reaper above him. Off in the distance, Mitsumi and Akikyo watched with a mix of fascination and anticipation, witnessing the punishment about to be carried out. Seika's voice cut through the tension with unyielding authority as he ordered Akikyo, "No mercy." Akikyo adjusted his glasses and responded calmly but resolutely, "I will do what is necessary." Kuya's fear spiked even further. Seeing the seriousness in Akikyo's demeanor and realizing that he might act with full force, he looked at the summoned Grim Reaper and panicked, shouting desperately, "Wait, no, inside me." It is him, Mugen, the Infinite Lord, was stirring within Kuya's body. Kuya strained to shout louder, trying to make Seika understand. "Inui, please. Listen to me, don't do this." He did not want to be executed, not now. He pushed his voice to the limit, warning that if he died, the danger trapped inside him would be unleashed, with consequences beyond measure. "If I die, the disaster inside me will." Before he could finish, a flash of blue light streaked across his throat. Kuya, drenched in sweat from fear, braced himself for a fatal blow, but he was not struck down. Instead, Akikyo had cut the restraints around his neck. The metal cords fell to the ground with a clatter. One by one, the bindings on his arms were also released, leaving Kuya's hands free. He lifted his hands in astonishment, staring at them in disbelief. Seika, seated across from him, spoke up calmly, "I see now. Sorry for putting you in a difficult position," he continued, "but I need you to confirm it yourself." He wanted Kuya to verify certain truths directly, from his own mouth. Kuya, still in shock that he had narrowly escaped death and was no longer under a death sentence, slowly spoke, "Inui." Seika approached him and then addressed the team monitoring via a ceiling-mounted camera. "Do you see it? His rage stems from the disaster within his body." Looking up at the camera, Seika's curiosity was apparent, tinged with caution. "Do you really intend to execute him?" The response from the other side was measured but firm. "We are entrusting this responsibility to you, Inui. However, if a situation like this occurs again, we expect you to uphold your duty. Inui, this is entirely on you." Seika nodded in satisfaction, patting Kuya on the shoulder before replying to the camera. "Of course. After all, the responsibility rests with us adults." A fleeting shadow of displeasure crossed Seika's eyes as he glanced at the camera again, silently reprimanding those hiding in the background who were not taking responsibility seriously. The voice on the other end remained calm, issuing instructions. "We are providing the Numbers Association with a significant budget to create a world free of disasters. Act quickly." Seika bowed respectfully, acknowledging the order. "Understood." With no further duties here, Akikyo withdrew, announcing his departure. "Then, I will take my leave." Seika tilted his head, curious, leaving already, Kirusu. At the mention of the name, Kuya instinctively glanced toward him, silently thinking, "Kirusu? Akikyo Kirusu. Number 2. Akikyo replied bluntly, showing no hesitation, "I still have work to do." Kuya's attention then shifted to a girl with wavy brown hair, casually chewing gum. His eyes widened in surprise, and the one who is both annoyed and chewing gum. That is Mitsumi Shinome, number 10. Even Kuya could not believe his luck today. He was fortunate enough to meet 3 powerful members of the Numbers. His excitement was evident. Amazing, 3 Numbers members are here. However, his joy was short-lived. Akikio had already made the move to leave. As his bag disappeared toward the door, all three Seika, Mitsumi, and Kuya watched him go. Before leaving, Akikio made his stance unmistakably clear. Even if the odds are slim, it should be eliminated. Of course, that is my personal opinion. By the way, I still believe that kid should be executed. Now, I take my leave. The door closed behind him, and his figure vanished. Mitsumi, irritated by his departure, muttered her frustration, HMPH. Arrogant, annoying. Seika did not comment on her remark and replied calmly. Anyway, he accepted my little act. I quite like him for that. He did not forget to acknowledge Mitsumi's presence, which helped ensure his performance went smoothly. Thanks for staying, Mitsumi. Realizing there was nothing more for her to do, she finally withdrew. Alright, I will go too. With everyone else gone, Seika finally spoke privately to Kuya Kamakami. Yes, sir, Kuya replied. Seika continued, this makes the third time I have saved you, has not it? Apologies for forgetting the previous times. Kuya recalled the two earlier occasions and felt a mix of embarrassment and gratitude. Inui. Thank you. He was genuinely thankful that Seika had repeatedly risked himself to save him. Suddenly, Kuya's curiosity sparked. Ah, wait. How did you know there is a disaster inside me? He stood up, eager to understand how Seika had discovered the truth about him. Seika pointed to his nose and explained, I have a very sensitive sense of smell. I could detect the scent of the disaster inside you. Kuya was astonished. Seika possessed an extraordinary olfactory ability, able to sense disasters purely through scent. Seika continued, recalling past incidents when Mugen, the Infinite Lord, had possessed Kuya's body, and the sudden changes in your appearance and personality too. It certainly was not your own will, and I do not believe it was just a skill. Seeing Kuya physically exhausted after returning to normal only reinforced Seika's certainty. He also remembered encountering Kuya just yesterday. Furthermore, I did not detect the disaster on you yesterday. Yet you appeared alongside a disaster at the abandoned building in Shibuya. From all these observations, Seika had concluded, something about you must be attracting a disaster. However, this situation is unprecedented. And I remained cautious. Still, many mysteries remained unsolved. Seika sat across from Kuya, his eyes filled with curiosity as he pressed gently, can you explain everything to me? I am on your side. He genuinely wanted to understand the secret. Kuya carried one that could potentially impact the entire human world. Kuya felt deeply moved, his eyes glistening with tears. This was the first time someone had repeatedly saved and protected him, each time without hesitation. His heart felt warm despite the whirlwind of events. My head is dizzy, but my heart feels so warm. This is the Inui I know. So much has happened, but I am glad he is here. He realized that trusting Seika was absolutely the right choice. Kuya lowered his head, his voice heavy as he revealed everything he knew. There is a disaster living inside me. Today, I was attacked by a disaster, and the one inside me. It attracts other disasters. Seika, curious, asked, I heard you managed to handle them, right? Kuya answered honestly, I think. I was able to harness a bit of its power. Suddenly, he remembered Mugen's face and realized, right, I need to tell him. Kuya lifted his head, deciding to finally speak the name of the disaster within him, Inui. The truth is, the disaster inside me. Before he could finish, a monstrous creature burst into the room, jaws wide, rows of sharp teeth glinting with bloodlust. The uninvited intruder smashed through the door and standing atop the defeated monster, blood pooling on the floor, was Kazuki, radiating murderous intent. Kazuki's lips curved into a wicked smile as he addressed Seika, since when did this city become a haven for disasters? I have cleaned them all up, now everyone can go home. And this place, it smells of a disaster too, he added, detecting the presence within the room. Immediately, a twisted grin spread across his face. He struck directly at Kuya, shouting, it is you. Caught off guard, Kuya was hit squarely, spitting out a mouthful of blood. He collapsed to the ground, hoarse and struggling, while Seika, beside him, sprang to his feet in worry, shouting, Kamakami. Seika's anger flared at Kazuki's brazen attack. He stepped forward, demanding an explanation. What do you think you are doing, Taiyo? Look closely, this is a human. Kazuki paused, Seika's words reaching him. He grabbed Kuya by the collar to inspect him more closely. Meanwhile, Kuya, hearing Seika call the intruder Kazuki, muttered curiously to himself, Taiyo. This is Kazuki Taiyo, number 4, he noted silently, committing the name to memory. Kazuki, raising an eyebrow, questioned aloud, so the kid's sentenced to death. It is strange. How is he still alive? Seika calmly explained, we decided to let him live. Kazuki released Kuya and, intrigued, pressed further, this is one of your unilateral decisions, Seika. Aren't these matters supposed to be decided by all numbers? Seika replied honestly, precisely. More accurately, if we waited for indecisive members like you, we would never reach any decision. Honestly, I am surprised you even showed up here. Kazuki, furious that a member of the council had made a decision without his input, let a dark purple aura of poison radiate from him as he demanded, so you will listen to my opinion as well, right? He immediately issued the highest decree for Kuya, death. His gaze was lethal, intent on killing Kuya on the spot. You little disaster bringer. The sentence will be carried out right here. With that, Kazuki lunged toward Kuya, aiming a brutal strike at him. Before Kazuki's sudden strike, Kuya gritted his teeth, worry etching his features, my body. It is still. A massive explosion shook the ground, throwing the room into chaos. Dust and smoke billowed, stinging his eyes. When he forced them open, Kuya's gaze widened in shock at the scene before him. Seika had intercepted Kazuki's attack. With one hand, he restrained Kazuki, and with the other, pressed his head firmly to the ground. Calmly, he spoke, sorry, Taiyo. I have made my decision. By deciding not to execute Kuya, Seika made it clear that no one could override that choice. Impulsive action would not be tolerated. Fuming, Kazuki shoved against Seika's hold and shouted, rage lacing his voice, don't underestimate me. You are always like this arrogant. Making decisions on your own, his face burned with fury at feeling constantly disregarded, as if his opinions as a number meant nothing. Seika, remaining composed, explained patiently, listen, Taiyo. Our goal is to eliminate the appearance of disasters and restore peace. Humanity living alongside a disaster like him and capable of communicating with them is extremely rare. He might very well be the key to resolving everything. Kazuki, unsatisfied, pointed directly at Kuya, sneering with contempt. This kid, a hope, he is like every disappointment in the world gathered into a single body. He could not believe someone harboring a disaster inside them could possibly make a difference. Seika's patience thinned as he firmly cautioned, Taiyo. Kuya, hearing Kazuki's ridicule, felt a twinge of doubt but hesitated, admitting quietly, yeah. Maybe I am not that important. He revealed his fear and helplessness, voice trembling, a disaster resides within me, waiting to take over. I do not know what to do. I can't control it on my own, which is why I came here. Then, Kuya made his final plea to Seika, if the disaster ever takes over me again like today and I attack everyone, please, kill me along with it. He bowed deeply, sincerity radiating from his posture. This seemed the only way he could hope to eradicate the disaster, lest humanity face grave danger. Kazuki's eyes widened, a mix of irritation and disbelief on his face. He had not expected the boy to speak so boldly, willing to sacrifice himself for the greater good. Seika, meanwhile, remained thoughtful, silent, struck by the courage and resolve in Kuya's plea. He stepped forward and ruffled Kuya's hair, his voice full of admiration. Just hearing those words is enough to prove that you are strong. He genuinely praised the courage Kuya had shown. Seika smiled warmly, assuring him with confidence, leave it to me. I will do everything I can to prevent that situation from ever happening again. Seeing Seika's radiant and trustworthy expression, Kuya's admiration deepened, and he felt an unwavering trust in him. At that moment, Kazuki moved toward the door, overhearing Seika's heartfelt words, and sneered mockingly, you planning a family moment with a disaster. I won't allow it, not with you, not with that kid. He gritted his teeth, eyes wide with intensity, emphasizing every word, all disasters must die. That is the only way humanity can prevail. Seika, fully aware of Kazuki's nature, sighed in helplessness. With him, only raw strength could settle matters. It is hard to make someone like him trust you. He murmured, and Kuya could only smile awkwardly beside him. Suddenly, Seika spoke, his voice calm yet firm, Kamakami. I won't offer empty reassurances. The truth is, you can't return to those peaceful days. From now on, you will always act alongside a member of the numbers. Kuya's eyes widened in surprise, and he quickly responded, yes, I am ready. I understand that the numbers will Suddenly, a realization struck him. Hearing Seika talk about cooperating with the other numbers members, Kuya was taken aback, mouth agape, huh? Seika noticed his bewilderment and added gently, like an older brother, they are all a handful. It is going to be tough from here on out. Seika paused, then changed his mind abruptly, number. Kuya froze, utterly confused, huh? To his astonishment, a new uniform suddenly appeared on him, one that only members of the numbers could wear. Excited, he shouted, this is. Seika explained, this is the official uniform of the numbers, for candidates. I want you to wear it. He had decided to make Kuya a candidate immediately. Kuya, thrilled beyond words, laughed loudly, I will wear it forever, I will never take it off. Then Seika turned to him, speaking sincerely, you asked once how to become a numbers member, right? I am sorry I dismissed you back then. At the time, he had still doubted Kuya's abilities. I am in this position not because of diligence alone, but because I have defeated countless disasters and saved more people than anyone else, Seika continued. Becoming a numbers member required immense effort and sacrifice, something even Seika himself had invested deeply to achieve. He wanted to make Kuya understand this clearly, prove that you can be more useful to humanity than anyone else. Seika truly believed in his potential to accomplish great things for the world. Feeling the weight of his mentor's faith, Kuya straightened, chest swelling with resolve, and replied firmly, yes. Suddenly, Seika pulled out his phone and offered to connect with him personally. When there is a mission, I will send messages through Rhine. Can I add you as a friend? Kuya, surprised that Seika himself wanted to exchange contacts, felt a mix of embarrassment and happiness. Fumbling with his phone, he muttered in disbelief, add Inui as a friend. Sure, but how? I do not even have friends. He could not help but laugh at himself while trying to answer. The scene shifted to Kuya's room. He was perched on a chair, legs propped up on the bed, staring at his phone, lost in thought. Yesterday and today. More stressful than all my life combined, times 100, he muttered. On the phone screen was a message from Seika, who had reached out first. Sorry for the rush, but a disaster has been identified. The numbers assigned to accompany you are. Kuya stared at the screen, anxiety tightening his chest. Meanwhile, at an industrial factory district under the high moon, an alert blared, warning all residents, a disaster is imminent at the gate. All residents, please evacuate. On the gate, a countdown appeared, 00:17:42. Kuya observed the scene carefully, musing, this is the gate. High-level disasters can be detected in advance, and we need to eliminate them before they cause any damage. The countdown ticked. 00:16:56. He reminded himself, this is one of the missions for rankers. Seika's message pinged again, naming Kuya's companion for the mission. Tonight, your numbers partner is numbers 4, Kazuki Taiyo. Sorry for the rush. The mention of the name sent a shiver down Kuya's spine, recalling Kazuki's ruthless and overbearing demeanor. Sighing, he reflected on yesterday, I already experienced his spoiled, childish personality. But the more I learn about him, the more I see he is remarkable. He was disowned by his parents during his university years, started from nothing, became a host, and now runs multiple host clubs, bars, and restaurants, the true king of the night. No wonder he was so formidable. As Kuya scanned the surroundings, a sudden voice came from behind him, dark and menacing, you have arrived. Kazuki's expression was full of disdain. If you had been even a second late, I would have taken you out, he growled. Kuya turned and greeted cautiously, ah, Kazuki. But before he could finish, Kazuki lunged forward, intent on killing him instantly, even so. I will send you off myself. His eyes were sharp and predatory, like a hunter closing in on careless prey. Excitement laced his voice as he yelled, disaster. Kuya gritted his teeth, baffled by Kazuki's strange behavior, huh? A massive surge of purple energy erupted from Kazuki's hand, striking directly toward Kuya. Kuya managed to dodge in time, but a scratch grazed his cheek, leaving a streak of blood. He quickly raised his hand, trying to reason, wait, Kazuki. Why? Just because there is a disaster inside me. Yesterday. But it was not the disaster itself that angered Kazuki. With a snarl, he explained, it is because you have Seika backing you. Kuya's eyes widened in confusion. That explained Kazuki's overreaction, but he still did not understand why just mentioning Seika's name would provoke such extreme hostility. Kuya stared intently at Kazuki, wiping the blood from his cheek, thinking to himself, Seika. That is Inui, right? Thinking back, he even clashed with Inui. What exactly happened between them? Kazuki stepped forward slowly, voice low and menacing, you little brat. Seika lets you live, but I won't. Not until I see for myself. His gaze promised no mercy. Time ticked on, 00:15:02. Kazuki wanted to gauge Kuya's strength, to see why Seika spared him. 15 minutes until the disaster appears. Prove yourself. If you can't, I will kill you right here. Kuya objected immediately, raising his voice, but fighting between rankers is illegal. Did not Inui say so? Kazuki snapped, unwilling to listen to any explanation. Shut your mouth. I am not following his rules. Here, I am the law. Time allowed no hesitation. It slipped away rapidly, 00:14:38. Kazuki reminded him, 14 minutes left. You still want to chit-chat? Kuya's eyes narrowed in thought. He clenched his fists and made his decision, if it comes to this, I can't die. Get ready. Red hair blazing, red energy radiating from him. He braced for a counterattack, prepared to go all in against Kazuki's stubborn insistence on a duel. Meanwhile, in a skyscraper, Seika leaned a hand on his cheek, sitting upright in his chair. The brown-haired girl watched curiously, wondering why Seika allowed Kuya to go on a mission with Kazuki. Inui, is it really okay to let him go? Seika, lost in thought, turned slightly at the sound. Mimimi. You mean Kamakami, he clarified, understanding who she referred to. A mission with Kazuki right after yesterday. Are not you worried he might die? Mitsumi asked anxiously. Seika remained calm. I can't decide which numbers member should accompany him. Besides, Taiyo is an adult now. I think he will be fine. Most importantly, I am placing my expectations on Kamakami. He was confident Kuya would not die so easily. The brown-haired girl tilted her head, curious, because there is a disaster inside him. He shook his head. Number. It is Kamakami's potential, not the disaster inside him. He could sense Kuya's power, untapped and extraordinary, independent of the disaster. He is hiding something very special, Seika continued, rising to look out the window at the night scene. The brown-haired girl fell silent in thought, then heard him add, even if he does not realize it yet. He is strong. He was certain Kuya had immense potential. Back on the battlefield, Kuya and Kazuki clashed fiercely. Kuya lunged forward, striking at Kazuki's face. Kazuki easily dodged, purple energy crackling along his arm, preparing to counterattack. He returned a punch of equal force, sending Kuya flying backward. Kuya braced with both hands, but the blow still caused deep gashes, blood spraying. Too strong. But I can still hold on, he thought, refusing to succumb. I have to counterattack, Kuya decided. Continuous defense would only lead to defeat, perhaps even death. If I can hold steady. He was strategizing, trying to find a way to defeat Kazuki, when suddenly his body shuddered. His heart raced uncontrollably, his body stiffened, numb. Dizziness clouded his vision, leaving him disoriented. Purple blotches began spreading across his wounded arms. Kazuki laughed. Exhilarated, got you. My skill is poison, he declared. The toxin spread to Kuya's face. Instantly, the system displayed Kazuki's stats, name, Kazuki Taiyo, skill, poison, level 8100, rank 4. Finally, Kuya collapsed to the ground, screaming in agonizing pain as the poison coursed through him. Kazuki smirked cruelly. Hurts, does not it? Even lifting a single finger would be excruciating, he muttered confidently. Certain the main would die. Suddenly, a red alert flashed across Kuya's unconscious body. Skill, Infinite Awakening. Skill, Strike Through. Immediately, the skill activated, initiating a miraculous regeneration that began healing all of Kuya's injuries. His entire body erupted in a brilliant, blinding light, and his eyes shone with an intense, radiant glow. Kuya writhed in agony, his entire body screaming in pain as the purple poison spread relentlessly across his skin. Tears welled in his eyes with each excruciating pulse. Kazuki, thrilled by his reaction, taunted, "The poison from my body attacks and destroys muscles, nerves, and cells." Finally, Kuya lay motionless on the ground, and Kazuki loomed over him with a mocking smirk. Hurts, does not it? Even moving a single finger excruciating, right? He stepped closer, pressing a foot down onto Kuya with utter disdain. Seika has no eye for talent. This one does not resemble humanity's hope at all. Purple poison crept even onto Kuya's lips, and Kazuki, toying with his soon-to-be victim, teased, "Got any last words, brat?" Receiving no answer, Kazuki muttered to himself, "Ah, can't speak, throat's cut. I see. Well then, off you go." He turned to leave, clearly not wanting to waste time on a mute opponent. But Kuya, summoning every ounce of strength, clenched an arm against the ground and lifted himself slightly, voice trembling with rage. "How dare you insult Inui?" Kazuki paused and finally noticed Kuya's piercing blue eyes glaring back at him. Calmly, Kuya continued, "Despite his weakness, yes, it still hurts, but I can endure it. Like this." His hands dug firmly into the ground, bracing himself. With sheer willpower, he rose to his feet, shouting, "Don't think you can shake me." Standing tall despite the pain, Kuya's resolve was unbreakable. Even Kazuki, astonished that his poison lethal enough to kill a person instantly was powerless against him, could only marvel, how is this possible? That toxin alone could kill a person in an instant. Yet Kuya's unwavering stance left Kazuki assessing him quietly. "This brat is strange," he muttered, bemused that Kuya would defend Seika so fiercely. "Don't insult Seika. I advise you, no one truly sees the darkness within him." But Kuya would not be swayed. He bellowed, "Stop. Only Inui accepts me. I will not accept anyone else. Do not insult him." His voice rang with unwavering conviction. Kazuki frowned, frustrated by Kuya's stubbornness. Determined to teach him a lesson, he raised his hand, summoning a chilling power, Death Snowfall. Immediately, snowflakes began descending, blanketing the area. Kuya looked on curiously. Snow. Suddenly, black crows behind him plummeted to the ground. Confused, he muttered, "Huh." Looking up, still kneeling, he saw the birds falling from the sky, his mind racing. This snow. But realization of the danger came too late. "It is poisoned," he gasped as blood began pouring uncontrollably from his face, nose, and mouth like a relentless waterfall. Kuya stared blankly into Kazuki's shifting, merciless gaze, thinking to himself, "This snowstorm takes lives without mercy. Truly a weapon of mass destruction." He collapsed into his own blood, his mind racing with unanswered questions. Kazuki spoke, his tone both proud and ruthless. "This is the true power of a number. No living creature can survive it. I have buried countless disasters alive with this skill." As Kuya lay there, Kazuki finally revealed the harsh truth behind his reputation. "But the reality is, people only praise Seika, while condemning me as dangerous." He caught a snowflake in his hand, continuing, "That one binds and confines what is dangerous. Even me." Then he heard Kuya speak, a soft, strained voice. Then Kazuki turned, surprised, seeing Kuya wounded yet still managing to rise. He narrowed his eyes in disbelief. "How are you still standing?" Behind him, Kuya's hands clenched tightly, a radiant white-blue aura surrounding him. His eyes shifted, the purple poison fading from his face, and the blood gradually dissipating into the air. Kazuki, witnessing this, could only gape. He has poison resistance. He is generating an antidote. He frowned, realizing that Kuya was extraordinary. "No human should be like this," he muttered. Is this the power of the disaster inside him? Kazuki thought, eyes narrowing. Suddenly, the system flashed the stats on Kuya. Name, Kuya Kamikage. Skill, Strike Through. Level 8, Rank, Awakened. Strike Through skill. Kuya roared with defiant determination. Refusing to bow to fate, "I will never hand this body over to Mugen." He clenched his fists, preparing to strike, red lightning crackling around him, his hair fully flaming red. "I will not die." Kazuki's excitement peaked finally, a worthy opponent. He bared his jagged teeth, amused, "You're the first to survive my poison." Dark purple toxins gathered in his palm, ready for battle. The clash erupted, red and purple streaking across the sky, neither side yielding. Kazuki yelled, "Your very existence is absurd." They collided repeatedly. Kuya threw a punch, which Kazuki deftly dodged. Time was running out, only 1 second remained, 0:00:01. Finally, the system announced, 0:00:00. A monstrous, grotesque entity erupted into the sky, its two massive eyes fixated on the two fighters, its gaping maw threatening to swallow them whole. Both Kazuki and Kuya glanced at it, recognizing the danger. Instinctively, they sprinted forward in unison, kicking it away from their battlefield. Move aside. The unleashed power was immense. A purple sphere tore through space, its energy enigmatic and overwhelming, while red flames burned around them like a consuming inferno. Despite the interference, the two resumed their clash, mouths wide in primal shouts of determination, each blow echoing with opposing power, neither willing to yield. Suddenly, a chime rang out. Attention all residents, the disaster has been successfully neutralized. Both fighters froze, mid-strike, astonished. The announcement continued, cheerful and grateful, the restricted area is now liberated. Thank you for your cooperation. The loudspeakers continued blaring announcements for all residents. Attention all residents, the disaster has. But Kazuki, no longer entertained, did not even bother to attack. Boring, he muttered. Suddenly, he seemed uninterested in fighting anymore, even acknowledging Kuya's strength. I admit it. You have passed. Kazuki, intrigued by Kuya's potential, clearly wanted to cooperate with him, yet he could not understand why Kuya trusted Seika so completely. Then why do not you come work for me, kid? No, Kuya Kamikage. Even Kuya was taken aback that Kazuki would want him to join him. He calmly declined, loyalty unwavering. Sorry, I trust Inui. Seeing that he could not sway him, Kazuki sighed and nodded in resignation. Fine, whatever. Turning to leave, he reminded Kuya one last time, I warned you. Goodbye. Kuya watched his retreating figure, dumbfounded, calling out softly, Kazuki. Curiosity and frustration mixed in his mind. In the end, I learned nothing. Does Inui have a problem? He wondered what Kazuki would do next. Number 4, Kazuki Taiyo. From this moment, he is no longer a number. I wonder where you went afterward. Meanwhile, Seika, one hand in his pocket and the other holding his phone, quickly grasped the situation. Calmly, he spoke, I understand. Taiyo has. The voice on the other end replied promptly, yes. Seika, on behalf of Kazuki, offered a sincere apology. I am truly sorry. I did not expect Taiyo to act that way. It is my fault for not recognizing it sooner. Kuya, hearing Seika apologize, felt a little flustered. It is not your fault, Inui. But Seika remained firm. No, even unintentional mistakes are still mistakes. As his older brother, I am truly sorry. Hearing this, Kuya was stunned. He had just realized the familial bond between Kazuki and Seika. Older brother, he exclaimed in disbelief. Seika, noticing his shock, casually explained, oh, you did not know, Taiyo and I are brothers. Kuya confirmed, still incredulous, no, you had not mentioned that. Not even to your fans. Seika noted that Kazuki did not like drawing attention to their relationship. I do not mind, but it seems Taiyo does not like it either. So, if no one asks, he does not reveal it. He also admitted that he did not understand his younger brother's mindset. Feeling like a failed elder sibling, I do not know what he is thinking. I am just an unsuccessful older brother. Seika seemed a bit embarrassed and helpless mentioning his brother, which made Kuya curious about what had caused friction between them. He then asked, did Taiyo say anything about you? Kuya recalled Kazuki's earlier words, the dark nature of him. Why do not you come work for me? He felt unsure how to answer, and finally decided to avoid the truth. No, he did not say anything. Seika exhaled in relief, I see. Standing by the window, Seika observed the city at night, taking in the scene below. After hearing the update, he praised Kuya. In any case, you neutralized the disaster and completed the mission, Kamiage. You can go home now. He reminded him, standing atop the skyscraper as the city lights flickered below, urging Kuya to rest after a long, exhausting day. Early the next morning, Kuya returned to school. A few students were walking in, preparing for the day's lessons. Standing at the school gate, he looked up at the buildings bustling with students, feeling a strange sense of unfamiliarity as if it had been ages since he would last been here. School. It feels like I have not been back in so long. He recalled Seika's words from before, the warm smile and inviting suggestion. Kamiage, let us go to school. Kuya was surprised by Seika's decision, his worry immediately surfacing. School? But the disaster is still looming around me. Is not this too dangerous? Seika, understanding his concern, quickly laid out a careful plan. That is exactly why you need to step away from other organizations and even say your goodbyes to friends and teachers who have helped you. Don't worry, I will make sure everything is taken care of, no matter if the disaster appears or not. Turning to Shizuka, he added, "Shizuka-san, can you handle this?" The short-haired girl responded promptly, "I will take care of it." Seika then addressed Kuya before he would have to stop coming to school entirely. "Enjoy your last day here." Kuya stared at the school grounds, remembering Seika's final words, yet felt a twinge of futility. "Inui, I appreciate your kindness, but I do not have many fond memories here." Still, he remembered that Seika had been incredibly popular and well-liked at school. It seems Inui is quite famous around here. Suddenly, a loud call startled him. "Kamiage." A tall man stood imposing behind Kuya, causing him to instinctively bow respectfully. "Teacher Okabe." Looking at him, memories of a painful past resurfaced, moments of being scolded and shouted at by Okabe. His harsh words echoing in Kuya's mind. "Kamiage, you are slacking again. A student like you is a disgrace to this school." He had even been threatened multiple times. "Get moving, now." Back in the present, Okabe's commanding voice made Kuya flinch. "Kamiage, you." The small figure of Kuya was reflected in his glasses. He sincerely apologized. "I am sorry for being absent without permission." To his surprise, Okabe did not scold him further. Instead, a friendly grin spread across his face as he patted Kuya on the shoulder, offering constant praise. "No, it is fine. You are our pride, Kamiage. You are an outstanding student." Kuya was astonished by the sudden 180-degree change in attitude. "Huh, what?" His eyes widened in disbelief. "What is happening?" Then, a blonde female student, noticing Kuya's presence, pointed at him and shouted to inform the others. "Ah, is that him? Number candidate Kuya Kamiage." The surrounding students stared in awe, admiring him, while Kuya remained bewildered. "Huh." She continued excitedly to explain to her friends. "He is on the news. He defeated a disaster alongside number Kazuki Taiyo." Kuya froze, startled. The news. He quickly pulled out his phone and checked immediately. The headline appeared in large, clear letters. Number candidate Kuya Kamiage, together with Kazuki, defeats a disaster in a single strike. He could hardly believe it, really. Before long, a crowd gathered around him, curiosity evident in every face. Questions flew. "Did you meet Inui? What are the other numbers like? This is amazing. I never thought a number candidate would be right here near us." Kuya felt a surge of happiness seeing everyone so fond of and admiring him. And he replied warmly, "Inui has always treated me very well." But before he could finish, a voice of dissent rang out, skeptical. "Really?" It came from a group of Tanba's underlings, led by a tall, striking young man with blonde hair and a red jacket. He arrogantly pushed through the crowd, demanding, "Move aside, you are in the way." Kuya, hearing the scolding, turned to see who it was. The blonde smirked with condescension as he stepped in front of Kuya, sneering, "Hachiko, you little mutt." Kuya was taken aback, recognizing them, Tanba's gang. He hesitated when the blonde addressed him, awkwardly replying, I heard Tanba is still in the hospital." The remark about Tanba seemed to amuse him. The blonde laughed heartily, warming up to Kuya. "Forget that. What matters more is, Hachiko, no, not Hachiko anymore, Kamiage, you are amazing." He flattered him generously. Leaning in close, he whispered a small request. "Hey, I am a fan of Mimimi. Could you help me get a few pictures?" Kuya, thinking it was something serious, was surprised it was just for a few photos. He replied calmly, "I think I have met her before, but..." Before he could finish, the blonde's excitement erupted. "You actually met her? No way." The scene shifted to the classroom, completely different from Kuya's previous days at school. Everyone welcomed him warmly, making him doubt the reality of it all. Is this real? The classmates were cheerful and open, laughing and joking with him. Kuya realized, school, it actually feels fun. He ran off with the group to buy some food, and they all sat together on the steps, eating sandwiches and chatting happily. All of this made Kuya pause and reflect, gazing at the school one last time. "I never thought the school I always hated would be the only place I ever felt like I belonged." A faint sense of attachment tugged at him. He suddenly realized that this might be the first and last moment of its kind in his life, a moment he could never return to, and "I will never be able to go back to this life again." Suddenly, a car came speeding toward him and his friends as they ate their sandwiches. Everyone screamed in shock, tumbling backward as sandwiches flew from their hands. The car braked sharply, tires screeching, sending smoke and dust billowing into the air. Through the swirling dust came a serious voice calling out, "Kamiage." Kuya, unsure who it was, froze. Huh. Shizuka appeared, bowing respectfully. "I am here to escort you. Inui has urgent matters and is waiting at the association." The short-haired girl had arrived on Seika's instructions. Kuya finally saw her clearly. Pointing ahead in surprise, "Ah, it is Shizuka, Inui's secretary." The group behind him blushed shyly, a mix of astonishment and happiness, as though seeing a girl they admired deeply. Without waiting for his consent, the car swiftly swerved and carried him away, leaving a cloud of dust behind. Kuya's friends were left standing there, dazed and gaping, still caught up in the thrill of the moment. So cool. Inside Seika's office on the skyscraper, he greeted Kuya warmly, relief showing on his face. "Welcome back. How was school?" But seeing Kuya's nauseated expression, he immediately grew concerned. "Are you okay?" Kuya swallowed hard, forcing himself to answer, "I am fine." Once he had steadied himself, Kuya eagerly began recounting what had happened. "I got so much attention today. I have never experienced anything like it before. But thinking back, it is all because of the disaster. It is complicated." His eyes carried a shadow of sadness. Seika, listening carefully, offered words of encouragement. "You are still being too negative. If I were in your shoes, I would see it as my own effort." Something clicked for Kuya. His sadness faded, replaced with fierce determination. "You are right. It is my own ability." Seika smiled, satisfied to see his mood lifted. "That is the spirit." Kuya's face broke into a radiant, joyful grin. Seika then turned serious, briefing him on the next mission. "About the mission, you will be accompanying another number. This one is just as difficult as Taiyo. You will run into a lot of trouble." Despite the warning, he respected Kuya's choice. "Do you think you can handle it?" Kuya's resolve burned brightly. "Yes, sir." He also asked with curiosity, "By the way, what is the urgent matter you mentioned?" Anticipating the question, Seika instructed Shizuka, "Shizuka, please handle this." She acknowledged immediately, "Understood." Shizuka held up a board for Kuya to see. "Let us cover some basic knowledge before diving into the main topic." On the board, the mechanics of the gates were clearly outlined. Disasters move from their world to ours through these gates. The larger the disaster, the longer it takes to transport, and the stronger the disaster, the more time it requires to arrive. Noticing Kuya's wandering gaze, Shizuka frowned slightly. "Is something amusing?" Flustered, he waved her off. "Oh, nothing. I just thought the illustrations were cute." Shizuka blushed at his comment. She banged the board on the table, commanding, "Focus, please." Seika chuckled at her flustered reaction, while Kuya sheepishly replied, "Yes, madam." She continued, "Higher-level gates have timers. When the countdown reaches 0, the disaster appears just like that." Kuya nodded, understanding fully. "Got it." Shizuka praised his quick comprehension before moving to the main point. "Now, did you notice anything when the gate in Yokohama opened?" He answered honestly. "I saw it on the news. But nothing came through." She agreed. "Correct. This is a high-level gate with a timer. We have stationed top-ranked rankers ready to face any disaster." Shizuka went on, reminding him to stay vigilant. However, nothing came out of the gate when the countdown reached 0. "We have been monitoring it for days." But currently Kuya, panic rising, interrupted. "Don't tell me a disaster came through." Calm and professional, she clarified, "Number." What emerged from the gate was black mist. Kuya frowned in confusion. "Black mist?" Shizuka hesitated, unsure herself. "The area is disrupted by interference, so it is impossible to observe with the naked eye. The current situation is very unclear." Seika then spoke, adding clarity. "More importantly, this has never happened before. That is why we have decided to position numbers in case an S-class disaster makes landfall." He calmly explained Kuya's mission. "You have been urgently summoned here to investigate, rescue civilians, and seal the gate." Kuya was surprised but immediately curious about how he could accomplish this. Seal the gate? How? Seika, anticipating the difficulty of the task, reassured him. "This is a challenging mission, but the number accompanying you has a special sealing ability. They should arrive soon." Suddenly, a voice cut through the tense atmosphere. "Excuse me." A man staggered in, blood still dripping from his nose and mouth, his injuries raw and alarming. His body was wrapped in bandages, and blood pooled beneath him as he struggled to approach Seika's office. With great effort, he spoke. "I am sorry, Inui. I was attacked by the disaster. I am done for. This was Seseki, the number assigned to accompany Kuya, but the situation was clearly critical. He reported his condition to Seika. I am counting on you. Both Seika and Kuya gaped in shock at the sight of him, battered and barely standing. Please assign the mission to another number, he begged one last time before collapsing. Kuya reached out in worry. Oh no. That has to be Seseki. Kuya shouted at Seika, Inui, treat Seseki quickly. But Seika's expression remained cold and unchanging, causing Kuya to panic. Wait. His expression. Seika's stern gaze bore down from above. Seseki, stop pretending. Every time it is the same. Resistance is futile. Kuya looked on in confusion, unable to grasp what was happening. Seseki, still lying on the floor, sighed, unable to deceive Seika. Finally, Namiki Seseki's real identity stood abruptly. Kuya sat in shock as he shed the appearance of a heavily injured man. Sighing in exasperation, so troublesome. He noticed Kuya squatting nearby and peered at him curiously. Who is this? I feel like I have seen you somewhere. Seseki suddenly jumped in alarm, startling Kuya in turn. Then he dropped back into his theatrical act. I can't. Standing hurts my legs, lying down hurts my back. Who exactly are you? Kuya quickly introduced himself. I am Kuya Kamiage. Seseki's gaze sharpened at the name, Kamiage. Hearing this, Seseki waved his hand dismissively. So you are the one causing a fuss at the association. Don't drag me into this, it is a nuisance. Inui, what now? Seeing Seika's commanding presence, Seseki quickly relented like an obedient dog. All right, I will go to Yokohama. Give me the instructions so I can finish and get back. Satisfied, Seika issued the orders swiftly. Very well. This is the mission for number Seseki. Accompany Kamiage, seal the gate in Yokohama, and defeat the disaster. Take care of Kamiage while doing so. Kuya blinked in disbelief at the assignment, stunned. Even Seseki protested slightly, dramatically flopping onto the floor again in mock exasperation. Seseki collapsed onto the floor again, throwing a full-blown tantrum. The bearded man resisted with all his might, protesting loudly, no way, why should I get involved in such troublesome stuff? Seika, fully aware of Seseki's antics, could only sternly remind him, stop avoiding the issue. Taking care of the candidate is our responsibility. Still, Seseki stubbornly refused. I do not want to. Namiki tried to persuade him, hoping he would change his mind. You expect me to figure everything out myself, make all the decisions. Inui, you know what I hate the most. Making decisions. The bearded man flopped on the floor like a spoiled child, kicking and screaming, I do not want to, too troublesome. Kuya, watching this childish display, could not help but wonder, who is this guy? Above the clear blue sky, a helicopter hovered high, and in the distance, a massive, dark purple-black force, the black mist loomed ominously. Kuya, observing from the helicopter, immediately spotted it and spoke to the bearded man beside him. Seseki, do you see it? That dark black mist has covered the entire area. No response came, prompting him to call out again, Seseki. At that moment, Seseki clung tightly to the helicopter door, wailing like a child throwing a tantrum. It is terrifying. I am scared of heights, take me home. Kuya, knowing his antics, did not believe him. I have never heard of any number being afraid of heights. Are you acting again? The bearded man straightened up, glaring at him indignantly. I am. You just stereotype numbers too much, Kuya retorted. Stop being unreasonable. Exasperated, Namiki slumped back in his seat, muttering, at this rate, I will faint from fear. To Kuya's shock, the bearded man promptly fell asleep, demonstrating the ease with which he switched moods. Kuya muttered anxiously, Inui, is this guy even reliable? Eventually, they landed in the area shrouded by the black mist. Kuya scanned the surroundings, anxiety tightening his chest. He could not see what lay ahead. Getting closer. It is so ominous. I do not know what is inside. Our mission is to rescue the Rancor, defeat the disaster, and seal the gate. Seseki, exactly how are you planning to seal it? Turning to observe, he saw Seseki immediately begin another performance. It hurts. Not good. My malnutrition, muscle injuries, and skull trauma are acting up again. Kuya noticed he was holding a blood bag and transfusion rod seemingly out of nowhere and asked curiously, what are you holding? Seseki, lying weakly on the bench, did not answer, only murmuring, "I can only come this far. The rest, I leave to you." Kuya sighed in frustration. Why is he always pretending to be sick? Ahead, the abyss of black mist stretched endlessly, and Kuya's worry deepened, a disaster. But this is different from last time. It is an endless fog. Can I really handle this? Yet determination flared in his eyes. He could not betray Seika's trust. No, because Inui believes in me. Kuya shouted fiercely, his resolve burning, "I can do this." Without hesitation, he leapt straight into the infinite black void. Meanwhile, Namiki lay back casually, hands behind his head, utterly unbothered. Seseki, no longer playing around, adopted a serious expression. Thankfully, it is still dormant. Kuya was dragged along at a dizzying speed, unable to open his eyes. Panic rising, I am being pulled into the mist. Finally, he arrived in a pitch-black space, completely devoid of light or exits. Only the deep purple-black mist surrounded him. It is so dark. Suddenly, Kuya realized the danger. This is not right. I can't see anything. The teens before us were pulled in like this too. They're still somewhere inside. A sudden explosion erupted at his feet, sending him stumbling across the ground. He barely avoided it, alerting himself, someone just attacked me. Then, wide-eyed, Kuya caught sight of what lay before him. Huge black hands surged toward him, sending Kuya into a panic. Hands. From the mist. Could it be? The mist itself is a disaster. The hands continued to lunge relentlessly at him. Awaken. Limitlessly. Kuya moved like lightning, dodging the massive attacks, then delivered a thunder-charged punch to shatter one of the hands. Another strike followed, but his fists passed through nothingness. Realization struck him, no impact. Physical attacks do not work because it is mist. Suddenly, an incredibly strong force came hurtling from Kuya's left, too fast to evade. He could only brace himself with his arms, but human strength had limits. The blow pushed him back, leaving a deep mark on the ground. Gritting his teeth, he muttered in frustration, "Damn it." His eyes flared red as he spotted yet another attack incoming. Before he could react, a hand grabbed him. Kuya struggled, but it was futile. Other massive hands began closing in, seemingly intent on crushing him to pieces. Frowning, he thought, I can't attack. But it can. Suddenly, blood splattered across his body. All attempts against it proved useless, fueling his anger. This is ridiculous. If direct attacks failed, he decided on another approach. Fine then. Channeling his inner power, he violently broke free from the hand that had seized him. Assessing the situation, Kuya knew a direct fight was impossible. Only one option remained: retreat. For now, get out of here. Facing the enemy head-on in their territory is foolish. Fighting blindly without any information is even more foolish. Strategy number 36, retreat is the best choice. With that, Kuya sprinted, evading the colossal hands. Outside, Seseki lay basking in the morning sun, enjoying the calm. Though outside, he could still observe Kuya's movements. Seeing him flee, he muttered discontentedly. That kid, running already, don't make me clean up this mess. But then something caught his attention. Wait, is he plotting something? Meanwhile, Kuya crouched behind a wall between buildings, the enormous hands sweeping past in search. He thought carefully, it is searching for me. Which means it has sight. It must have a core somewhere controlling these hands. Squatting, he pondered intensely. How do I locate it? Think, use my head. In my mind, what do I need to do to become a number? I have information on all disasters and other numbers recall it. He urged himself to think clearly. 4 years ago, it could manipulate water and attack under certain conditions. Later, it became known as disaster slime, a substance that could dissolve into water, become invisible, and still manipulate and strike. A certain ranker defeated that disaster with a method both brilliant and catastrophic. Just recalling it makes me shiver. He admired the strategy. It was a double-edged sword. Standing, he scanned the surroundings. It is not here, is it? But that method had a weakness. Suddenly, he lifted his head, eyes widening in shock. Everyone hovered helplessly in midair, suspended by the black mist. Kuya froze at the sight, terror gripping him. No, it can't be. The previous rankers. Do not tell me they are all dead. The thought was unbearable. He shut his eyes tightly, trying to deny it. No, they are still alive. Clenching his teeth, he swallowed hard, forcing determination into his chest. There is still a chance to save them. there is no time to hesitate. Kuya knew he could not falter now that he had come this far. Summoning all his energy, he shouted defiantly, "Where are you? Come out if you dare." A pair of red eyes appeared from a hidden corner, watching him. Kuya's voice rang out with steel in it, "You are spying on me from somewhere, are not you?" He dashed forward, sparks of red energy flaring as he attacked. Suddenly, streams of dark purple-black energy rained down from above. He looked up, stunned. So many. The attacks struck so quickly that they cut horizontally across him. He could only use his arms to block, wincing with each impact. Pain coursed through him, and his vision dimmed, but he refused to collapse. Pushing forward relentlessly, he muttered, "That rancor." Advancing with intent, even under attack. He found himself in a dead end, completely blocked from three sides. Sensing movement nearby, danger closing in, he realized, no escape. Prey already facing certain death. A monstrous creature appeared before him, fangs gleaming. Its eyes glowed red, but Kuya vanished in an instant. The beast looked around in confusion, there was no sign of him. But that action, it was merely bait to lure out the real disaster. Namiki observed approvingly from above. Kuya's true goal was to reveal the entity behind the mist. From his vantage, he reached back, preparing his counterattack. His eyes burned with focus and determination. "Found you. Disaster." The creature had no time to react. Kuya struck decisively. Seseki, watching, acknowledged his potential, not just the power of Mugen. Your own research and preparation are crucial too. The bearded man's opinion of Kuya shifted dramatically after witnessing this black mist operation. So it is like this. Back in the battlefield, as Kuya prepared to strike the creature again, an unexpected voice rang out, "Checkmate." Kuya froze, bewildered. His body refused to move, and the punch he had just prepared fizzled into nothing. "What? My body won't move," panic swept over him, mouth agape. Even Mugen, the Infinite Lord, who had been perched watching the spectacle, smiled in delight. He had been eagerly anticipating this moment to see Kuya struggle when his Infinite Awakening could no longer be activated. The system kept flashing red warnings, Infinite Awakening skill suspended, awaiting cooldown. Infinite Awakening will be available after 1205 seconds. Kuya's body remained frozen, every muscle locked, panic rising within him. I can't move," he whispered, helpless. From the shadows, the Infinite Lord sneered with acidic amusement, "So this is how it feels. Even using your skill has limits. You thought you could wield my power freely, huh?" The system counted down, 16 seconds remaining. Even Seseki noticed Kuya's immobility, exhaling with a hint of worry. "Hey, do not tell me, the skill is not working anymore." The bearded man muttered under the sunlight, shading his eyes, "HMPH. Idiot." Meanwhile, the monstrous creature's red eyes glowed fiercely, jaws gaping wide as it loomed over Kuya. Sweat poured down his face, but his body remained paralyzed, powerless against the looming threat. It seemed to mock him, dancing in place as if taunting him with cruel amusement. A sinister grin spread across its face. Kuya slumped to the ground, exhaustion and fear weighing him down. What are you planning?" he groaned, just as a wave of dark mist surged toward him, signaling imminent danger. Suddenly, a massive black hand shot out from the fog. Slowly, more limbs and body parts became visible. What had seemed like a small monster moments ago now revealed itself as a towering, colossal entity, standing imposingly before Kuya. He froze in shock, staring at the true form of the disaster. Without hesitation, it struck him with a powerful blow. The ground beneath him dented violently, sending shards of debris flying into the air. Pain tore through his body as he cried out. The creature began to charge up its next attack, a swirling dark purple-black orb forming above its head. Kuya, still immobilized and reeling from the previous strike, felt the crushing weight of despair settle in. This is it. I am done for." The system countdown still had 8 seconds left, and one more hit like this would end him. Desperation coursed through him. "Come on, Infinite Awakening. Hurry," he silently begged, willing his power to return faster. Suddenly, Namiki appeared, sprinting toward him and shouting, "Kid!" But he arrived too late. The monster unleashed its charged attack, a massive surge of energy piercing straight through Kuya. His body was obliterated. A gaping wound tearing through his back. I am dead." He gasped, feeling all hope vanish. Then, at the very instant he collapsed, the system triggered, Infinite Awakening skill ready. Skill activated. Immediately, the system interface materialized before him. Both the bearded man and the colossal creature stared intently, watching to see what would happen next. Even Seseki's brows furrowed in concern, sensing that a turning point had arrived. Suddenly, the scene before him left Seseki utterly stunned. A beam of light shot straight at Kuya. It instantly healed all of his wounds. The gaping hole in his back completely vanished. Seseki watched in disbelief, muttering to himself, What is that rebirth, is this? The power of a disaster? No, that can't be. Namiki, still deep in thought, tried to process what had just happened. Then, Kuya sprang to his feet, full of energy, completely unscathed as if nothing had happened. Excitement and relief surged through him, and he could not hide his joy. Seseki, still puzzled by the sight, finally asked, curiosity lacing his tone, Kid, what did you just do? Kuya heard him and beamed, calling out, Seseki. Seeing him before his eyes, Kuya reached out, touching the spot where the monster's strike had landed. Looks like I just barely escaped death. I honestly thought I was done for. He ignored Seseki's question, realizing the older man had not noticed the miraculous recovery. The reflection of Kuya's back in Seseki's glasses showed him in perfect form, entirely unharmed. Kuya grinned, exhilarated that he was still alive and intact. This feels amazing. Then he pointed toward the looming monster, cautioning Seseki, be careful, it is a disaster. It can manipulate the mist. Seseki remained calm, his voice measured but sharp. More importantly, Kid, did you seal the door? Kuya froze, realizing he had completely forgotten. Seeing the clumsy display, Seseki reminded him sternly, even if it is a bit of a hassle, never forget. Seal it. A golden key appeared in his hand, the very key Kuya had neglected. He raised it with a deadly seriousness, the cold aura radiating from him making Kuya tense. The sealing key locked the door and simultaneously neutralized the black mist monster, completing the mission with startling efficiency. Seseki casually slid his hands into his pockets, adding, if you forget to lock the door, you will be destroyed. Kuya's eyes stayed glued to the sealed door, marveling at how effortlessly it had been done. The disaster. It is stopped. The creature's mouth remained open, but the black mist that had powered it gradually faded, rendering it immobile just as Kuya had been moments ago. Seseki explained slowly, his tone calm but firm, I have sealed its movement. It won't move again unless I unlock it. The rest is up to you, go handle it. You can do it, right? Kuya nodded, admiration shining in his eyes. He stopped a disaster so easily. Then Namiki, curious about how Kuya had lured the disaster out of the mist, asked, by the way, Kid, did you come up with that tactic yourself, or did someone guide you? Blushing slightly, Kuya scratched his cheek and replied, I have studied a lot to become one of the numbers. He paused, reflecting on all the knowledge he had absorbed. I can't continue learning now. But I read about past disasters and how they were defeated. For this disaster, he continued honestly, I used the strategy of a ranker who fought a slime-type disaster. Namiki's eyes widened in surprise. The tactic was both ingenious and risky, truly a double-edged strategy. Using yourself as bait to lure the disaster. Seseki's gaze sharpened, as he reacted to the mention of a ranker confronting a disaster, a slime disaster. The battle Seseki referred to had been his own when he was young, facing a massive, multi-eyed slime disaster. At that time, he had stood before it, casting a sealing ritual with a golden ring of light, seal. Seseki, brimming with fierce determination, faced the disaster alone. After successfully sealing it, he could not resist a taunt, his voice dripping with the confidence of a victor. Do not think I will let you do whatever you want. Standing tall, Seseki proclaimed to the world with unwavering authority, I, Seseki, will defeat you. The memory of his heroic past stirred a wave of nostalgia and pride within him. Then, his expression darkened, and he bowed his head in a fleeting display of melancholy. Kuya noticed the subtle shift in Seseki's demeanor when the older man reflected on the strategy a ranker had used against the slime disaster, sensing a strange mix of sorrow and gravity. Concerned, he called out, Seseki. But Seseki quickly regained his composure, masking any trace of emotion and returning to his usual nonchalant, almost dismissive attitude, such a hassle. Namiki, sensing the tension, wisely changed the topic. Kuya's attention shifted back to the monster that had just been sealed, and a sense of relief washed over him. The mist. It is gone now that the disaster has stopped. The environment gradually returned to normal. The city was no longer shrouded in the darkness of the black mist. Kuya, sitting on the ground, exhaled deeply in relief. That is good. Now the rankers trapped inside the mist can be rescued. He still held a faint hope that those caught here could be saved. But just as he spoke, his eyes widened in shock as he stared ahead. Seseki, too, furrowed his brows, his expression turning serious. Before them, dark purple vortexes began to form. Kuya's panic rose. Too many gates. Seseki, calm as ever, slid his hands into his pockets and explained in a measured tone, "It is their scheme." So this mist had a purpose all along. Curiosity and suspicion crossed Seseki's face. Strange. Do they have intelligence? Sensing the looming danger, Kuya asked anxiously, "What do we do now, Seseki?" Meanwhile, the countdown clock ticked ominously. 0:00:05. 0:00:03. 0:00:02. Kuya's anxiety spiked. The countdown. It is about to finish. Suddenly, something inside one of the gates tried to break free, creating jagged cracks across its surface. From the breach, countless monsters, spawned from the black mist, emerged. Their eyes widened and mouths gaped, ready to devour the two standing before them. Kuya's jaw dropped, overwhelmed by the sheer number of enemies. We can't fight all of them. If they escape, the damage will be catastrophic. He worried not only for himself but also for the potential harm to the people beyond. Namiki, however, remained completely unfazed, sighing in mild annoyance. Such a hassle. He stepped in front of Kuya casually, scratching his head as if the swarm of monsters was no more than a minor inconvenience. Kuya, bewildered, called out, "Seseki, what are you doing?" Suddenly, golden streams of light began to radiate around Seseki. A golden key appeared in his hand, and a self-satisfied smirk formed on his face. At this rate, a massive explosion erupted right in front of Kuya. He raised his hands instinctively to shield himself, unable to see Seseki amid the blinding brilliance. Through the dazzling light, Kuya gasped in astonishment. Seseki was glowing, and behind him floated countless enormous golden keys, ready to take command of the chaos. He wielded a massive key like a weapon, finally unleashing the full force of his power, blazing radiant judgment, complete sword. Even Seseki had not expected to use it so soon, yet he did not forget to admonish Kuya, urging him to stay focused. Such a hassle. I do not know what is coming next, so do not blink. Pay attention. Hearing this, Kuya's eyes widened, his concentration sharpening to the utmost, determined to observe every single movement and action of Seseki with perfect clarity. In Kuya's eyes, the reflection of Namiki's back was clearly visible, along with the glowing sparks he had summoned, which immediately piqued his curiosity. And Sasaragi. What is this technique? Kuya asked, noticing a mysterious circle of light forming around him, dazzling with a blinding brilliance. With his usual calm, the bearded man replied, "Holy flame incinerates armor. This is the awakened form of my skill." Hearing the mention of a skill awakening left Kuya bewildered. Skill awakening? I have never heard of this. And a skill can change one's appearance to this extent. What astonished him most was the dramatic transformation in Seseki's appearance. Even from behind, Kuya could feel the immense power radiating off him. He is really stronger now, he thought, awe-filling his voice. Suddenly, Kuya noticed a dark shadow appearing on Seseki's left. A monster lunged directly at him from that side. Kuya shouted out a warning, "And Sasaragi, watch out." But before it even reached him, half of the monster was instantly incinerated by the flames. Seseki had not even moved his feet and had already effortlessly eliminated the creature. Watching it burn so quickly, Kuya reflected, this is intense. Even a low-tier disaster can't maintain its form against him. It is as if I am facing Mugen himself, he thought, a chill running down his spine at the mention of the Infinite Lord. Meanwhile, Mugen observed Seseki's combat with visible amusement. "Oh, level 5, he remarked, settling into his chair, before correcting himself, Level 10. The combat ability of this one surged so suddenly. So this is humanity, Mugen mused, intrigued by such overwhelming human power. The scene shifted to Namiki battling the monsters. One fell effortlessly, even before he had fully exerted himself, leaving him slightly bored. Let us see. The monsters, provoked by him, charged forward simultaneously. Seeing the danger escalate, Kuya shouted anxiously, "And Sasaragi, too many of them." Unfazed, the bearded man continued his attack, raising his hand high, royal key. Immediately, golden locks appeared above the monsters' heads. The massive golden key slowly moved toward the locks, locking them in place, causing the monsters' eyes to flare. With a cold gaze, Saseki recited the finishing move, open. Instantly, a blinding explosion of light from the key's power sealed the monsters effortlessly. Kuya watched in awe, utterly captivated by the sheer coolness and cold precision of Namiki as he eliminated the monsters without even needing to touch them. The bearded man's back was solid and unshakable, completely composed amid the danger, handling the situation with a calm, almost effortless authority. He did not forget to glance at Kuya, who could only stare back in admiration, silently thinking, absolute precision, absolute destruction. A high-tier disaster does not stand a chance. This is what a number can do, Kuya murmured to himself, curiosity burning about how much stronger a number could possibly be. Sasaragi Namiki, he whispered, stunned. He could hardly believe that the man who always acted weak, battered, and bloodied in combat could transform into someone so cold and arrogant, almost unrecognizable. Yet Kuya swallowed his astonishment, and Saseki, seemingly exhausted, let out a sigh, "Ah. I am tired." He flopped dramatically onto the ground, looking pitiful. "I do not want to do anything anymore. Call a helicopter, I need to go home and sleep." Kuya could not let him off so easily, his concern making him speak up, "Don't sleep on the ground. You are grown up." But his curiosity got the better of him. Eyes sparkling like a child exploring a new world, he pressed, more importantly, "And Sasaragi. What was that move just now? Toei Jop, or something like that, I have never heard of anything like it. If only I could use it." Before he could finish, Namiki immediately crushed that hope. "You can't. Don't underestimate a number." Kuya froze, confused and disappointed. Then Namiki explained in a tone that mixed casualness with authority, "People like you should not know about it. It would not make sense." "Huh?" Kuya asked, bewildered. But Namiki did not elaborate further, brushing it off, "Ah. Nothing." The bearded man then resumed his melodramatic act, sprawled on the ground, lamenting, "After such an intense battle, my muscles are completely exhausted." Kuya, having seen everything firsthand, called him out, "It is not that bad, you have overdone it." Namiki, ever the child at heart, just let out a resigned sigh, lying on the ground, one eye half closed, seemingly plotting. He mused over words he had once asked Seika, Inui. Should I show this kid? He genuinely wanted to broaden Kuya's horizons with a glimpse of high-level skills. Seika, however, bluntly refused, "I won't allow it." Namiki's expression turned serious. "You want to drag the child into the other world?" A cold smile crossed his face. "He will want to go. No need to pull him." He pointed directly at Seika, threateningly. If he knew, he would not want it. But he was not afraid and refused to change his stance. "A lazy man like you is rarely this persistent. I understand your concern, so how about this? He made a tempting offer, help me out, and you get a week off." Seika raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "You?" Namiki pressed on, striking at Seika's soft spot. "Your daughter will be thrilled. You are living apart, right?" He showed his phone as proof, offering a subtle nudge to seal the deal. Immediately, an image of his daughter appeared on the phone screen, complete with all the details of Sasaragi Mika. Namiki intended to use this little trick to make Seika comply. This is for the future of humanity. Seika, caught in the trap, let out a sigh, unable to refuse. He relented and agreed, "All right." With their negotiation concluded, Namiki turned back to the present, speaking to Kuya with a mix of sternness and admonition, "But, even knowing this, a brat like you still has at least a decade of training ahead. Give it up." He did not want Kuya to get too deeply involved in matters beyond his reach. However, Kuya's eyes brightened with hope at the thought of a training method for the technique, 10 years. His determination shone through. "I will give it everything I have got." Namiki, slightly taken aback by the boy's completely unconventional mindset, repeated his warning, trying to make him understand, "You fool. Do not push too hard and ruin yourself. 10 years is not a small number, it costs too much time if you insist blindly. But Kuya refused to back down, his resolve unwavering. I will give it everything I have got, to become stronger. Watching Seseki fight had ignited a fire in him. Kuya no longer wanted to be useless, a burden preventing others from acting, even if it is impossible for me now. I have already faced a disaster. I do not want to remain powerless, unable to awaken my skills. Noticing the boy's wistful expression, Namiki looked up and addressed him directly. About that, kid? He asked plainly, you have skills, right? Kuya did not answer immediately. His face flushed with a forced, awkward smile, leaving Namiki puzzled. Behind Kuya, a group of black crows had perched on the high-voltage wires, observing the two intently. Their eyes glowed a crimson hunger in the darkness, each with a small embedded tracking device. Sure enough, someone was monitoring Kuya through the eyes of the crows, reporting the situation to Seika Inui. Everything is proceeding as you intended. Seika's interest in Kuya grew. Indeed, Kamiage Kuya has skills. We still do not know the full extent, but he is a strong individual whose potential has yet to be fully tapped. He just needs time. Seika's curiosity was tempered by caution. You seem excited, Inui, but revealing high-level skills now might be too soon. He could not understand why Seika was doing this. Then he explained further that technique. Number-class individuals hide it carefully, even from the authorities, for anyone to witness it prematurely. If our secret plan is exposed, the balance of the world could collapse instantly. It is a Pandora's box. He worried intensely about the danger of Kuya learning too much too soon. Seika, however, remained calm. Pandora. Yes, I know. We must never become Prometheus, the one who gives fire to humanity. But you have seen it. Humanity can absorb disasters from that day onward. Time itself has long since stopped spinning. Now, it turns again. Thanks to that person, we can finally move forward. Seika glanced at the towering statue before him, signaling the next step of his meticulously planned strategy. A plan ready to take another decisive step forward.